Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I am Son Goku, suppressing the world of Dragon Ball. Chapter 61. Wu Junming smiled at everyone and said, I kept you waiting for a long time. The current Super Saiyan 4 is my strongest form. Please worship me, everyone. Son Goku smiled and said, it seems that if I don't deal with you for 3 days, you will dare to go to the house and unveil the tiles, and you will actually dare to let me and you worship you. Wu Junming said hurriedly. Father is joking with you, but you still take it seriously. Son Goku waved his hand and said, forget it, I won't talk nonsense to you, I will let you see the strength of my Super Saiyan 5. Son Goku shouted and transformed directly into Super Saiyan 5, with a tall and muscular body, silver hair hanging down around his waist, black eye frames, white eyebrows, silver pupils, and his upper body was covered with white fluff. Seeing Son Goku again in Super Saiyan 5, Vegeta and Piccolo were still shocked. Different from the previous Super Saiyan 5, the current Super Saiyan 5 Son Goku has a calm aura, unlike the previous manic and domineering one. But both of them know that today's Super Saiyan 5 is definitely stronger than before. Vegeta said, Kakarot, have you trained Super Saiyan 5 to full power? Son Goku said, yes, it took me a lot of time to practice Super Saiyan's 5 full powers. I just completed it some time ago, but I didn't expect that this kid would force me to use it. Vegeta heard this and said, it seems that this boy's Super Saiyan 4 has really put a lot of pressure on you. Son Goku nodded and said, okay, you all step aside, I'm going to start a battle with this kid. Vegeta, Piccolo, Supreme Kai, and Gebet heard this and immediately flew away. Son Goku looked at Wu Junming and said, you brat, let's get started. Use your full strength and let me see how far you can push me. When Wu Junming heard this, he smiled and said, Father, I will take action. Just as Son Goku was about to answer, Wu Junming's fist appeared in front of him. Son Goku grabbed Wu Junming's fist and said, who did you learn this from? You're such an old man. Wu Junming smiled and said, I am self-taught without a teacher, ha ha ha. After hearing this, Son Goku smiled helplessly, then put more force on his hands and began to wrestle with Wu Junming. Seeing this, Wu Junming also started to use his strength. Suddenly, there was strong wind, lightning and thunder around the two people. The two auras collided, and more than a dozen cracks were opened in the surrounding space. As the collision of breaths became more and more intense, a huge pit appeared under their feet, and it continued to grow. A moment later, a huge pit with a diameter of dozens of kilometers and a bottomless depth appeared under their feet. Seeing this, the two of them let go at the same time. Then the fist and kick competition began. The iron fist wanted to touch, causing ripples in space and spreading to the sky. The planets in the distance turned into powder silently. Supreme Kai, who was thousands of miles away, was shocked and said, we can't let them take action again. Otherwise if they hit a dozen punches, the stars in the universe will be shattered by their shock waves. After hearing this, Piccolo was silent for a moment and said, believe Goku, Wu Junming and the others. They must have discovered this problem and will solve it. Otherwise, they will stop on their own. Vegeta nodded and said to Supreme Kai, you are also the Supreme God in the universe. Don't be fussy when things happen. Supreme Kai said weakly, aren't I worried about the safety of universe? Vegeta wanted to say a few more words, but Piccolo said, Vegeta, Supreme Kai only has that little strength and limited vision, so it's normal to worry. Supreme Kai heard Piccolo's words and thought to himself, I know, I think you are helping me out, but I don't know, I think you are mocking me. Thank you so much, Piccolo. He said helplessly, Piccolo is right. Hearing this, Vegeta said nothing more and looked towards the place where Son Goku and Wu Junming were fighting. Piccolo saw this and looked at the battle between the two again. Son Goku and Wu Junming bumped fists a few more times, and the shock waves generated by the collision between the two became smaller and smaller. Later, when they collided again, no more shock waves were generated. Son Goku stopped his hand and said to Wu Junming, I thought you didn't notice it. Wu Junming said, I am a fighting genius. I can't see this problem. Father, you underestimate me. Son Goku smiled and said, okay, I admit that I underestimated you. Next, I will use all my strength to fight you, and you should stop hiding it. Wu Junming smiled and said, Father, you saw it. Son Goku smiled and said, "You brat, you think I can't see it? I am a candidate for gods of destruction. Whis and Beerus are not available. I am the strongest in single-target combat." Wu Junming laughed when he heard this and said, "I can't tell, father, you are also very conceited." Son Goku said, "Asshole, I'm looking for you. What I call confidence is what you call arrogance." When Wu Junming heard this, he waved his hand and said, "Okay, father, you have the final say." When Son Goku saw this, he smiled and said, "What kind of attitude do you have? It seems that I need to teach you what it means to be a loving father and a filial son." Wu Junming heard this and said with a smile, "In that case, father, just let your horse come over." Son Goku heard this and said, "Okay." Before he finished speaking, he appeared behind Wu Junming and kicked Wu Junming in the butt. Wu Junming suddenly turned his head and made a face at Son Goku. Son Goku kicked the afterimage, and then punched Wu Junming's iron fist with his backhand. The two of them each took a few steps back, then rushed towards each other and started a fierce battle. There were two figures everywhere in the sky. Supreme Kai in the distance asked Piccolo, "What is Goku and Wu Junming's move? Is it a clone technique? Why are there so many Goku and Wu Junming?" Piccolo explained, "What kind of clone technique is this? This is the afterimage produced by two people fighting at high speed. It's just that the speed is too fast and the afterimage has not dissipated." Vegeta said, "Yes, the two have entered a super light battle. The naked eye can no longer capture the trajectory of the two people's battle. They can only rely on breath perception. I see. It seems that the strength of the two of them has far exceeded my knowledge. Compared with them, I am frightened. Majin Buu, who is 5 million years old, is nothing," Supreme Kai said. Vegeta heard this and said with a smile, "Supreme Kai, you are quite funny. You were frightened by a Majin Buu for 5 million years. Supreme Kai heard this and smiled awkwardly. While the three were discussing, Son Goku and Wu Junming were already fighting at a fever pitch. Both of them received a lot of punches and kicks from each other. Son Goku was beaten into panda eyes by Wu Junming, and Wu Junming was spanked by Son Goku until his butt was bruised. Neither of them took advantage, and neither suffered a loss. After fighting for a while longer, the two distanced themselves. Son Goku rubbed his eyes and said, "The first round is over. You and I are equal in fist and foot. Let's start the second round." Wu Junming rubbed his butt and said, "I didn't expect your Super Saiyan 5, father, to be so powerful. It can tie with me in fists and kicks. Next, we will compare how to use it." Son Goku nodded, and then he was ready to go, and the two were about to start the second round of battle. Son Goku burst out with all his breath, raised his hands above his head, and an energy ball appeared out of thin air above him, and then quickly grew in size, expanding to dozens of kilometers in size in a few breaths. Son Goku looked up and felt that it was almost done, and then shouted, "Dismissal." In the blink of an eye, dozens of kilometers of energy balls turned into countless basketball-sized energy balls, densely packed and covering half of the sky. When Son Goku saw this, he shouted, "Condensation," and saw countless energy balls turning into countless 3-foot air swords. Son Goku said to Wu Junming, "You brat, are you ready?" Seeing this, Wu Junming shouted, "Father, your move is very gorgeous. After the competition is over, you must teach me." "No problem, you take this move first, don't be careless," Son Goku warned. Wu Gen said, "I know, father." Then he shouted loudly, and the flames from his body shot up into the sky, reaching a height of more than 3 feet and a width of about 1 foot, solid as substance. Then he said to Son Goku, "Father, I am ready." When Son Goku saw this, he stretched out his arms and the air swords above his head formed a long queue. He pinched the sword finger with his left hand, made a fist with his right hand, waved his arms forward, placed the sword finger of his left hand on the fist of his right hand, and at the same time shouted, 10,000 swords return to the clan." I saw countless cheese swords above my head, whizzing out and stabbing Wu Junming at lightning speed. When Wu Junming saw this, he shouted, "Father, look at me today. I will break through your 6-foot wall of light and return to my clan with 10,000 swords." Putting his fists against his chest, the 6-foot wall of light on his body suddenly solidified by another 3 points. At this moment, the air sword pierced the light wall, making a loud roar. Countless air swords cut through the space, followed one after another, and pierced the light wall of Wu Junming. It was like the roar of thunder, and it kept ringing. Looking at Wu Junming's light wall again, it was as steady as a mountain, unmoved at all. Vegeta, Piccolo, Supreme Kai, and Gebet watched the competition between the two in the distance and couldn't help but admire. Vegeta said, Kakarot's 10,000 swordsmanship is extremely gorgeous and wonderful. If I were to take over, I would probably only be able to take 1 or 2 swords. I didn't expect that the gap between Super Saiyan 5 and Super Saiyan 4 would be so big. Quote. Piccolo heard this and said, What you said, Vegeta, is not right. Vegeta heard this and said doubtfully, How can I say this? Piccolo said, The gap between Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan 5 is indeed huge. You were right, but the gap between Lao Sun's Super Saiyan 5 and your Super Saiyan 4 is probably bigger than you think. Be big. Upon hearing this, Vegeta glared at Piccolo and said, Piccolo, what do you mean, do you look down on my Super Saiyan 4? Piccolo said, It's not that I look down on your Super Saiyan 4. What I mean is that Lao Sun's basic combat power is too strong, which makes his Super Saiyan 5 stronger. Even if you reach Super Saiyan 5 in the future, it may not be as good as the Super Saiyan 5. Shang Lao Sun's Super Saiyan 5. Hearing this, Vegeta was silent for a moment and said, You are right. Kakarot's normal combat power is too strong. It is almost equal to my Super Saiyan 2, and even a little stronger. Piccolo said, It seems that Lao Sun's cultivation with the help of super gravity has greatly improved his strength. Vegeta nodded and said, It seems that the increase in Super Saiyan is secondary, and the basic combat power is the top priority. Piccolo nodded. Regardless of his dark green form, the increase is not as large as that of Super Saiyan 3, but his basic combat power is not weak, so the strength of his dark green form is enough to rival the strength of Trunks' Super Saiyan 3 in the future. While the two were talking, the competition between Son Goku and Wu Junming had reached a fever pitch. Only the last few hundred of Son Goku's air swords are left, and the thickness of Wu Junming's light wall has also been reduced by 3.5 feet. Upon seeing this, Son Goku shouted loudly, and saw the last hundreds of air swords rising into the sky, forming a giant sword tens of meters long in the air. Son Goku rose into the air, clasped his hands together, and slashed from top to bottom. When he saw the giant sword in the air, he slashed towards Wu Junming. There was a thunderbolt from the blue, and Wu Junming was shrouded in smoke and dust. Seeing this, Piccolo ducked in front of Son Goku and shouted at Son Goku, Old son, what did you do? It's just a sparring match. You hit me so hard. What if you hurt Junming? Son Goku smiled when he saw this and said, Piccolo, don't worry, Junming's strength is more than that, and he is not that easy to get hurt. Piccolo heard this and said, Old son, are you sure Junming is okay? Junming's voice came out of the smoke, Uncle Piccolo, you underestimate me too much. The smoke dissipated, and Wu Junming appeared in front of the two people intact. Son Goku said to Piccolo, Look, what I said is right, right. When Piccolo saw this, he nodded and became confused because he was a little concerned. I didn't see the old grandson who was Wu Junming's father, so I didn't worry about it, so I was just worrying about it. Son Goku said to Piccolo, Piccolo, you go and stay aside, this competition is not over yet. Piccolo nodded and returned to Vegeta, Supreme Kai, and Jabbit. At this moment, a colorful stream of light appeared in the sky above Son Goku and Wu Junming. The light dissipated, and Whis' figure appeared. Son Goku saw this and said to Whis, Whis, you're here. Whis said, I felt an aura similar to your strength in the world of gods of destruction. I knew through the magic rod that you were in the world of Supreme Kai, so I came here. Son Goku said, I see, the aura you are talking about is emitted by my two sons, Wu Zhen and Wu Ming, who use the fusion technique of the Metamor people to fuse into the fused human being Wu Junming. Oh, that's right, I didn't expect that the two fusions would be so powerful. Judging from their auras, they are almost as strong as you, Whis said. Son Goku said, not only that, but the strength is also similar. Whis nodded, then looked at Wu Junming. Wu Junming saw this and said to Whis, long time no see, Whis. Whis smiled and said, you are Wu Junming. It seems that your father is right. Your strength is really between the two. Wu Junming smiled and said, that's natural. I have been fighting with my father for 15 minutes, and we haven't decided the winner yet. Whis nodded and said, then you continue, I'll go to Vegeta's side. The two nodded, and Whis sped towards Vegeta and Piccolo. After Whis left, Wu Zhen said, Father, I took over your 10,000 swords and returned to the clan. You can also take over my special skills. Son Goku smiled and said, oh, you have any special skills, show them out. Wu Junming heard this and said with a smile, Father, watch carefully, my stunts will definitely surprise you. Son Goku spread his hands and said with a smile, please start your performance. Wu Junming gathered all the energy in his body, and a 6-foot wall of light suddenly spurted out. Wu Junming shouted, come out, Wu Junming's army. Then I saw an identical Wu Junming walking out from behind Wu Junming, and said to Wu Junming, hello, Captain. Wu Junming nodded and said to him, say hello to father. Wu Junming nodded, turned to Son Goku and smiled, Wu Junming number 1, I have met my father. When Son Goku saw this, his eyes widened. Hearing the greeting from Wu Junming number 1, he realized and smiled at Wu Junming number 1, hello. Wu Junming number 1 looked at Son Goku's embarrassment, smiled, and stood aside. Immediately afterwards, an identical Wu Junming came out from behind Wu Junming. After greeting Wu Junming, he said to Son Goku, Wu Junming number 2, I have met my father. Son Goku smiled and said hello to Wu Junming number 2 again. Wu Junming number 2 stopped next to Wu Junming number 1, and the two started chatting. Son Goku looked at the two chatting people and remembered Gotenks' move in the original work, Super Ghost Kamikaze Fist. However, looking at Goten Ming's move, it seemed to be much better than Gotenks' move. While Son Goku was deep in thought, Wu Junming number 3 greeted him again. Son Goku responded helplessly. A minute later, Wu Junming, number 100, greeted Son Goku and stood next to number 99. Wu Junming's true form smiled at Son Goku and said, how about father, this is a good trick, in the blink of an eye, you will have 100 more sons. Son Goku smiled and said, you can always come up with something new for me. Wu Junming smiled and said, father, don't underestimate them. They can know everything I know, and their strength is not weaker than Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Vegeta, who was watching the battle in the distance, sneezed inexplicably, and then said to Piccolo, Wu Junming, what's the use of creating so many clones? Don't you know that the strength of the clones is weaker than the main body? Whis shook his head and said, Vegeta, you are wrong. These clones of Wu Junming are not weak at all. Although they are weaker than his original body, according to my perception, these clones are stronger than your Super Saiyan 4. What? This is impossible. Vegeta was shocked. Piccolo was so shocked that his face turned yellow when he heard this. When the three of them were discussing, Wu Junming waved his hand. They saw 100 Wu Junming divided into 5 teams, 1 for each team, and then surrounded Son Goku from 5 directions, east, south, west, north, and up. Then they shouted in unison, Father, are you ready? We are about to take action. Son Goku nodded and said, I'm ready. 100 Wu Junming nodded, and then launched an attack on Son Goku at the same time. Dong Bian put his 2 fingers together, put them on his forehead, gathered energy, and shouted, Devil-penetrating light-killing cannon. 20 demonic light-killing cannons hit Son Goku. West crossed his palms, raised them to his forehead, and shouted in unison, Magic Flash. 20 energy waves rushed towards Son Goku. Nan Bian's hands were clasped at his waist and he shouted in unison, Wei, Hai, Chi, Gong. Then he pushed out his hands in parallel, and hit Son Goku with 20 Kamehameha. Bei Bian's hands clasped on his lower back and said in unison, Big Bang Attack. Then he pushed out suddenly, and 20 energy waves hit Son Goku. The 20 Wu Gen inscriptions in the sky were divided into 4 directions, southeast, northwest and northwest. Their hands were in a triangle shape and they were pointed at Son Goku while shouting, Qigong Cannon. 20 Qigong cannons blasted at Son Goku. This kind of all-round attack with no blind spots made Vegeta, Piccolo, Supreme Kai, and Gebet feel frightened and their scalps were numb when they saw it in the distance. It's scary to think about it. Hundreds of Super Saiyan 4 are unleashing 5 different energy attacks at the same time. Regardless of the effect, the momentum alone is enough to shock people's hearts. Even Whis nodded and praised Wu Junming. Son Goku, who was in the center, was also startled when he saw this, and hurriedly put up the energy shield. 5 skills and hundreds of energy attacks hit Son Goku almost at the same time. Son Goku just slumped and acted as if nothing had happened. The energy shield around him, blessed by Son Goku's energy, only shook a little at first, and then became indestructible. The two sides started a tug of war, with hundreds of energy attacks continuously bombarding Son Goku's energy shield. Just when Son Goku was about to use up all the hundreds of clones, a sharp sword light cut through the space, crossed time, and pierced the energy shield. In the blink of an eye, it penetrated the energy shield. The sword tip was far away from Son Goku. The chest is less than half a foot tall. When Son Goku was distracted for a moment, cracks began to appear in the energy shield. Upon seeing this, Son Goku shouted loudly, and an extremely powerful energy emitted from Son Goku's body. It spread instantly and submerged Wu Junming around him. At this moment, a chi sword passed through the chest and transformed into Wu Junming behind Son Goku. Son Goku turned to Wu Junming and said, "You're not bad," and then disappeared. When Wu Junming saw this, he was shocked and said it was an afterimage. "It's not an afterimage, it's a breath image. How can an afterimage fool you?" Son Goku's voice came from behind Wu Junming. Wu Junming said, "Father, when did you discover it? I think this trick is perfect and no one can escape it." Son Goku smiled and said, "You are still too naive. 100 of your clones have come up to attack me. If you don't take action, it's not obvious. Are you going to sneak attack me? How can I be defenseless? Hasn't my sword already been struck?" Wu Junming said. Son Goku said, "You took action, but you didn't come up to attack. I must be on guard." When Wu Junming heard this, he gave a thumbs up and said, "Father, I thought I was smart enough, but I didn't expect you to be 6 years older than me." As soon as he finished speaking, Wu Junming was divided into Son Wujun and Son Wuming. The two looked at each other and said to Son Goku, "Father, what's going on? Why did we suddenly separate?" Son Goku said, "The energy battle just now should have exhausted Wu Junming's energy, so he disintegrated and became the two of you again." Son Wujun heard this and said, "That's it, I thought I could keep fighting." Son Goku smiled and said, "You brat, you only want good things." Son Wuming said, "Father, who wins this battle between you and Wu Junming?" Son Goku smiled and said, "Let's call it a tie. This is the first time since I started practicing that I have fought so happily. It's so satisfying." When the two heard this, they were also very happy for Wu Junming. After all, it was the fusion of the two of them. Several people in the distance saw Wu Junming suddenly disintegrating and knew that the battle was over, so they flew over. Vegeta asked Son Goku, "Kakarot, how did they disintegrate?" Son Goku told everyone the reason again. Only then did everyone realize that it turned out that the combined body could not continue fighting forever. Afterwards, Son Goku took everyone back home. Another banquet was held, and Whis, Supreme Kai, and Gibbet had another feast, and packed some delicious food when they left. In the days that followed, Son Goku devoted himself to practicing again. Half a year later, Son Goku practiced Super Saiyan 5 to the limit. The gravity on the red giant star no longer had any effect on Son Goku's practice. So Son Goku fired an energy bomb, freeing the red giant completely. Then Son Goku lowered his head and recalled the planet in his mind that was suitable for cultivation. A black hole 1.6 million light-years away from the Earth was remembered by Son Goku. The mass of this black hole is 14 times that of the Sun, and its gravity reaches 1,000,000,000,000 times that of the Earth. Therefore, Son Goku's current Super Saiyan 5 limit body does not dare to get too close to this black hole, lest it be torn to pieces by gravity. Son Goku proceeds step by step, first practicing at a suitable distance from the black hole. Even so, the gravitational force generated by this distance is nearly 20 million times that of the Earth. The super strong gravity tore violently Son Goku Super Saiyan's 5 limit body. Son Goku wore the mask of pain and started practicing at this distance, feeling the gradual improvement of his strength. Son Goku was in pain and happy at the same time. Half a year later, Son Goku finally adapted to the gravity of 20 million times and can move freely at this distance. On this day, Supreme Kai and Gebet came to Son Goku's house to eat and drink again. Son Goku looked at the two and thought of the old Kaio who was still sealed in Supreme Kai's sword. So he said to the two of them, I heard that in your Supreme Kai world, there is a Supreme Kai sword. Anyone who pulls it out can get a huge increase in strength. Is it true? Supreme Kai said, of course it's true. Why, Goku, do you want to try it? Son Goku said, yes, in the past 6 months, my strength has improved too slowly. I seem to have encountered a bottleneck. I want to try the Supreme Kai sword to see if it can help me break this bottleneck. Supreme Kai Shin said, no problem, we will go after dinner. Son Goku said, no problem, Supreme Kai, you eat slowly, we are not in a hurry. Supreme Kaixin nodded, picked up the chicken legs on the table, and started eating. An hour later, Supreme Kai touched his round belly, burped, and said to Son Goku, Goku, let's go. Son Goku nodded, and Jabit took the two to the Supreme Kai world. Supreme Kai Shin led Son Goku to the place where the Supreme Kai sword was inserted. Supreme Kai pointed at the Supreme Kai sword and said, Goku, this is the Supreme Kai sword. As long as you pull it out, your strength will be greatly improved. Son Goku nodded, reached out and grasped the hilt of the sword, and then with a force, the Supreme Kai sword was pulled out. Supreme Kai and Jabit were stunned for a moment. Supreme Kai said, Goku, are you pulling it out now? Son Goku said, what else? Supreme Kai Shin said, I thought you were going to become Super Saiyan. Son Goku smiled and said, that's not necessary. Jabit asked, Goku, do you feel the increase in strength? Son Goku said, no, I don't feel anything. Supreme Kai Shin said, impossible, is the legend false? Goku, show me the Supreme Kai sword. Son Goku said, Supreme Kai, this sword is very heavy. Are you sure you want to take a look? Supreme Kai Shin said, Goku, although I am weak, I can't even lift a sword. Son Goku heard this and said, okay then, remember to use your strength. Supreme Kai Shin nodded. Seeing this, Son Goku handed over the Supreme Kai sword. Supreme Kai grabbed the hilt of the sword and said to Son Goku, Goku, let go. Son Goku nodded and said, Supreme Kai, hold on tight, I'll let go. Supreme Kai Shin nodded, and when Son Goku saw this, he let go of his hand. So Supreme Kai was dragged into close contact with the ground by the Supreme Kai sword. Supreme Kai got up from the ground, looked at the Supreme Kai sword, and said depressedly, I didn't expect this Supreme Kai sword to be so heavy. I can't hold it with all my strength. Son Goku didn't say anything after hearing this. He raised the Supreme Kai sword and said to Supreme Kai, this sword looks very sharp. I don't know if it is hard or not. Supreme Kai was about to speak when he saw Son Goku, putting his hand on the blade of the sword, and then flicked it hard, and the Supreme Kai sword broke into 2 pieces. When Supreme Kai and Jabit saw this scene, their eyes nearly popped out, and they stammered, Gia, the Supreme Kai sword is broken. Yeah, it just broke off. I thought it was hard, but it doesn't look like much, Son Goku said. The two were about to answer when they heard an old voice from behind, young man, was it you who released me from the Supreme Kai sword? Yes, who are you? Son Goku pretended not to recognize him. You can tell I'm Supreme Kai just by looking at my clothes, said the old man behind Supreme Kai Shin and JB. The two turned around and looked at the old man. Supreme Kai asked, are you really Supreme Kai? Why haven't I seen you before? The old man said, I am Supreme Kai from 15 generations ago. Of course you don't know me. Ah, doesn't that mean you are my ancestor? Supreme Kai said. Of course, the old Supreme Kai said. Supreme Kai Shin heard the words, hugged the old Supreme Kai's thigh and said, old ancestor, I have suffered all these years. I was so scared by Majin Buu that I couldn't sleep or eat well. If I hadn't met Goku, I wouldn't have known how to be scared. Until when? Old Supreme Kai said, get out of the way first and tell me if you have anything to do. Supreme Kai Shin wiped his nose and tears, let go of old Supreme Kai's lap, and then started talking about the past. After hearing this, the old Supreme Kai roared, why don't you find gods of destruction Beerus? Why don't you find gods of destruction Beerus? Supreme Kai Shin shrank his neck and said, ancestor, we didn't know the existence of gods of destruction Beerus at that time. Hearing this, the old Supreme Kai said, That's it. Beerus, if he hadn't sealed me away, the Supreme Kai world wouldn't have suffered a catastrophe. Then he turned to look at Son Goku and said, young man, thank you for releasing me from the Supreme Kai sword. If you have any requests, you can put them forward and I will do my best to agree to you. Supreme Kai Shin said, Goku has encountered a bottleneck in his practice. I wonder if our ancestors have any methods to help Goku break through the bottleneck. What a coincidence, your ancestor and I happen to have a method that can help people improve their strength, the old Supreme Kai said with a smile. Oh, that's great, ancestor, help Goku break through the bottleneck, said Supreme Kai Shin. The old king said, you are quite impatient. Then he said to Son Goku, show me your strength and let me see. No problem, Son Goku said. Son Goku shouted low and started the Super Saiyan transformation. The old Supreme Kai felt Son Goku's aura and was shocked. Before the old Supreme Kai could speak, Son Goku shouted again and transformed into Super Saiyan 2. Old Supreme Kai was shocked and was about to speak. Son Goku shouted again and transformed into Super Saiyan San. When the old Supreme Kai saw this, he said directly, this transformation of yours is a crooked way. Son Goku smiled and said, Old Supreme Kai, look at my transformation again. After saying that, he shouted and transformed into Super Saiyan 4. The old Supreme Kai suddenly stopped talking. Super 4 is different from Super 1, Super 2, and Super 3. It inspired Saiyan's bloodline and raised Saiyan's life level. Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, and Super Saiyan the third of may be crooked ways as the old Supreme Kai said, but Super Saiyan 4 is really not crooked. Son Goku didn't say anything when he saw the old Supreme Kai, and he didn't care, so he transformed into Super Saiyan 5. When the old Supreme Kai saw this, he was shocked and said, is this your real strength? You are so powerful, I have only seen this kind of strength in Beerus. Son Goku smiled and said, yes, this is my real strength now. When the old Supreme Kai heard this, he was shocked for a moment, and then said ecstatically, Goku, I will help you develop your potential and improve your strength, can you also do me a favor? Son Goku said, Old Supreme Kai, please tell me, I will do my best. Old Supreme Kai smiled and said, it's not too difficult. I just want to ask you to help teach Beerus a lesson. Of course, the premise is that you are strong enough, but I believe that after I help you develop your potential, your strength will definitely be able to defeat Beerus. Son Goku smiled and said, Old Supreme Kai, you want to avenge Beerus for sealing you, right? No problem, it's just a little effort. Supreme Kai Shin said from the side, it's not good for Goku, you forgot that you are still a Gods of Destruction candidate. Son Goku smiled and said, it's okay, I believe Lord Beerus, after knowing my strength, will definitely compete with me, so that I can do it easily. Old Supreme Kai said, Goku is right. During the competition, he accidentally beat Beerus. Beerus' skills are not as good as others, so he definitely has nothing to say. Son Goku nodded. If you beat a strong man like Beerus, he will look up to you. Seeing Son Goku nodding, the old Supreme Kai said, Goku, without further ado, let's get started. The sooner your strength improves, the more confident you will be in beating Beerus. Son Goku smiled helplessly after hearing this. The old Supreme Kai asked Son Goku to sit down, and then told Son Goku the things that need to be paid attention to in the process of developing potential. After Son Goku memorized it, the old Supreme Kai started, dancing like a god, to develop his potential. Supreme Kai Shin and Gibbet, watching the old Supreme Kai's dance, always felt that the old Supreme Kai was unreliable. The old Supreme Kai danced around Son Goku for 5 hours, and then said to Son Goku, wait for the next 20 hours, and it will be the time to witness the miracle. Son Goku nodded and sat there waiting. Time passed minute by minute. 20 hours later, the moment Son Goku stood up, a golden giant ape tens of meters tall suddenly appeared in his mind. It roared continuously and disappeared for a full minute. Not see. Supreme Kai Shin looked at the motionless Son Goku, and when he wanted to wake him up, he was stunned by the old Supreme Kai's big nose. Supreme Kai Shin looked at the old king aggrievedly and said, Old ancestor, why did you hit me? Old Supreme Kai said, if I don't hit you, you will interrupt Goku's awakening potential. Do you think Goku is in a daze? When Supreme Kai Shin heard this, he realized that he had almost caused a catastrophe. At this moment, Son Goku came to his senses, and then said to several people, "Old Lord Supreme Kai, Jabbit, you stay away, I am about to explode my potential." The three of them nodded upon hearing this, and Jabbit took the two of them to instant transmission, which was more than 10 kilometers away. Son Goku shouted loudly when he saw this, and the breath of Super Saiyan 5 spurted out. Then Son Goku roared loudly. Ah! Along with the roar, the flames around Son Goku soared into the sky and suddenly reached a height of tens of feet. The flames were as thick as liquid and as solid as a mountain. The roaring continued. The white hair on Son Goku's body began to turn into gold, and his long silver hair also began to turn into gold. The eyebrows also turned golden, the black eye sockets turned into golden ones, and the silver pupils switched back and forth between silver and gold. As Son Goku's roar became heavier and more powerful, the entire Supreme Kai world began to tremble. The planets in the distance began to fall into the depths of the universe, and the stars above the Supreme Kai world burst out with dazzling light. In the Gods of Destruction world, Whis was drinking milk tea. He felt this aura and said in shock, "Goku has made a breakthrough again. This time, I'm afraid Lord Beerus is really no match for Goku. I'm really looking forward to it. Lord Beerus will touch you. It's the day I go to Goku, oh ha ha ha." In the Supreme Kai world, the roar continues. The flames on Son Goku's body began to shrink, slowly shrinking from tens of feet to several feet high. At the same time, the roaring that lasted for nearly 10 minutes finally stopped. Looking at Son Goku again, he has a Super 4 body, his upper body is covered with golden fluff, and his long golden hair hangs down around his waist. Tonight, his eyes, golden pupils, and wherever he looks, the space is burned into nothingness. Son Goku condensed a mirror, carefully looked at his appearance, and laughed at himself. This time, I changed from a white-haired monkey to a golden monkey. As soon as his eyes narrowed, the mirror turned into nothingness. At this time, the three old Supreme Kai also rushed over. The old Supreme Kai looked at Son Goku and said, "Goku, how are you? Do you think your strength has improved a lot? Are you sure you can beat Beerus?" Son Goku pondered for a moment and said, "I have a certain degree of confidence. After I completely master this state, it shouldn't be a problem to beat Beerus." "Great, Goku, when the time comes to beat Beerus, be sure to call me," the old Supreme Kai said excitedly. "No problem, old Lord Supreme Kai," Son Goku smiled. Supreme Kai said, "Goku, this form of yours should be called Super Saiyan 6, right?" Son Goku said, "Yes, this transformation is the transformation after Super Saiyan 5. It is called Super Saiyan 6. There is no problem." Supreme Kai Shin nodded. Son Goku said to the three of them, "To celebrate the reappearance of the old Supreme Kai, to celebrate my breaking through the bottleneck and transforming into Super Saiyan 6, I invite you to my house for another meal." Supreme Kai Shin and Gibbet heard this and said in unison, "Okay, Goku." Old Supreme Kai also said, "I have been imprisoned for 75 million years, and I don't even know what food tastes like anymore." "Then what are you waiting for? Grandpa, let's leave now," Supreme Kai said Shin. The old Supreme Kai nodded, Jabbit cast instant transmission, and they arrived at Son Goku's house in an instant. At this time, everyone gathered together to discuss the aura emitted by Son Goku just now. Vegeta said, "Kakarot, I haven't advanced to Super Saiyan 5 yet, and he actually broke through again. Looking at the movement just now, I expected it to be good, he should have advanced to Super Saiyan 6. Piccolo nodded and said helplessly, "Lao Sun has just transformed into Super Saiyan 5, and then he breaks through to Super Saiyan 6. We all live under the same roof, why is there such a big gap?" Sun Wujun said, "I don't know what my father, Super Saiyan 6, looks like." Sun Wuming heard this and said thoughtfully, "The color must have changed. From Super Saiyan 4 to Super Saiyan 5, the fluff on the body, hair, and color have all changed. Super Saiyan 6 should also change." Lapis covered his face when he heard this and thought to himself, "Everyone else is discussing the strength of Super Saiyan 6, but you two are discussing the color. It's really weird." Tien Shinhan said, "I am very curious. Compared with the so-called gods of destruction Beerus in terms of strength, who is stronger and who is weaker?" After everyone heard this, they all started thinking. After a long moment, Piccolo said uncertainly, "It should be Goku." Vegeta heard the words and nodded. Didn't Whis say that the strength of Kakarot's Super Saiyan 5 is almost the same as that of the weakest gods of destruction? Now it has become Super Saiyan 6. Not to mention surpassing Beerus, it should be almost the same. Quote. Everyone nodded after hearing this, thinking Vegeta was right. At this moment, Son Goku, Old Supreme Kai Shin, and JB appeared in front of everyone. Vegeta looked at the golden-haired Son Goku and said, "Kakarot, is this Super Saiyan 6? Son Goku smiled and said, "Yes, this is Super Saiyan 6. Piccolo said, "Old Son, you must have broken through too quickly." Son Goku smiled and said, "Thanks to the Old Supreme Kai for this breakthrough." Then he pointed at the Old Supreme Kai and said to everyone, "I would like to introduce to you solemnly. This is the Old Supreme Kai. He is the ancestor of Supreme Kai Shin. The Supreme Kai 15 generations ago was sealed in Supreme by Lord Beerus. Opening the sword, he only recently got out of trouble." After hearing this, everyone looked at the Old Supreme Kai. When the Old Supreme Kai saw this, he smiled and said, "Hello everyone." Hearing this, everyone said hello one after another. Vegeta said, "Kakarot, you mean you broke through Super Saiyan 6 and got help from the Old Supreme Kai? What happened?" Son Goku said, "Old Supreme Kai can help people develop their potential. In order to thank me for helping him get out of trouble, he helped me develop my potential. This is why I was able to break through Super Saiyan 6. After hearing this, everyone stared at the Old Supreme Kai with fiery eyes, as if they were looking at a peerless beauty. Old Supreme Kai's scalp was numb when everyone saw him. He cleared his throat and said, "Do you also want me to help you develop your potential?" Everyone nodded. Seeing this, the Old Supreme Kai said, "It's not impossible, but you have to exchange books for it." Everyone was puzzled when they heard this. Son Goku saw this and said, "Old Supreme Kai, I will help you find the books you want. You can help them develop their potential." The Old Supreme Kai heard this and said, "Goku, do you know what book I want?" Son Goku smiled and said, "Of course I know, don't worry." Old Supreme Kai heard this and said, "Well, I'll help them just for your sake." Son Goku nodded, then led everyone into the restaurant, asking everyone to wait while he went to find Bulma. At this time, Bulma is working on a time machine in the laboratory. Seeing the arrival of Son Goku, he was surprised and said, "Goku, you have made a breakthrough again. This golden hair all over your body looks like a golden monkey, ha ha ha." Son Goku smiled and said, "Bulma, how dare you make fun of me, let's see how I deal with you at night." "Come on, who is afraid of who? But at night, you have to maintain your current appearance. I want to see the difference between you and Super 5, Bulma said arrogantly. "Okay, no problem, let's go out now, I will introduce a new god to you," Son Goku said. Bulma tidied up the laboratory, and the two went to the restaurant. Afterwards, under Bulma's arrangement, a gourmet feast was held in the restaurant. Old Supreme Kai was so moved that he burst into tears while eating the delicacies. When everyone saw this, they secretly thought, another god who has never eaten delicious food. After everyone had eaten, Son Goku found a few thick volumes of fashion magazines and handed them to the Old Supreme Kai. Then Jabit took everyone back to the Supreme Kai world, and the old Kaiwang developed their potential for everyone. Son Goku is also at home, dealing with Bulma, Chi-Chi and Lazuli in the evening. In the Supreme Kai world, the Old Supreme Kai first developed the potential for Piccolo. When everyone saw the Old Supreme Kai, they danced around Piccolo. Everyone looked weird, and they felt that the Old Supreme Kai was a bit unreliable. 5 hours later, the Old Supreme Kai was completed, the potential development ceremony. He said to everyone, "The effects will show up in 20 hours. You can wait here while I go and take a rest." Everyone heard this and had no objections. 20 hours later, Piccolo stood up from where he was and said to everyone, "You guys stay away, I want to see how much my strength has improved." Everyone nodded when they heard this and stepped aside. Piccolo shouted loudly, turned into a dark green Piccolo, and then began to growl like a constipation. Ah, ah, ah. Along with the roar, the aura on Piccolo's body surged, and the green flame began to turn from the inside out, turning into orange. The color of Piccolo also started to change from green to orange. In the Gods of Destruction world, Whis was a little surprised after feeling Piccolo's aura, and murmured, "It seems that Piccolo has also made a breakthrough. This aura is not weaker than Goku from Super Saiyan IV. It seems that the improvement is not small." On Earth, Son Goku felt Piccolo's aura and said to himself, "It seems that Piccolo has completed its potential development. The intensity of this aura is almost the same as my Super Saiyan 4. In the Supreme Kai world, after the roar, Piccolo turned orange from head to toe, and even the external flames turned orange. Piccolo felt his strength, which was much improved than before, and he was very happy. Seeing this, everyone gathered around. Vegeta felt Piccolo's aura and said, "Piccolo, your strength has improved a lot, surpassing my Super Saiyan 4. Piccolo nodded and said, "Yes, my current strength should be about the same as Super 4 Goku." The others were all shocked when they heard this. They didn't expect that the old Supreme Kai's potential development could actually improve his strength so much. Sun Wukong said, "Uncle Piccolo, you have turned orange now. I think it is better to call your form orange form." Piccolo heard this and said with a smile, "Good enlightenment is called orange form." After Piccolo, the old Supreme Kai started again to help Vegeta develop his potential. The 5-hour dance ceremony was so tiring that Supreme Kai was exhausted. After the ceremony, everyone waited for Vegeta to show off the results. 20 hours later, everyone stepped aside and looked at Vegeta. Vegeta stood up slowly, then shouted and transformed into Super Saiyan 4. Then he started roaring like a constipation. Along with the roar, Vegeta's body glowed, emitting a dazzling light, and his aura surged, spreading to every corner of the universe. The black hair quickly grew longer and gradually turned silver, the red fluff on the body turned white, the eyebrows turned white, the red eye sockets turned into black eye sockets, and the pupils turned silver. Vegeta successfully broke through Super Saiyan 4 and transformed into Super Saiyan 5. Vegeta felt his own strength and said to himself, "Is this the strength of Super Saiyan 5? It is really strong. No wonder Whis said that Super Saiyan Kakarot can rival the weakest gods of destruction." Everyone saw this and came to Vegeta. Piccolo said, "Vegeta, you successfully broke through Super Saiyan 5. Vegeta said, "Yes, Super Saiyan 5 is indeed extraordinary. It can almost kill Super Saiyan 4 instantly." Seeing this, Sun Wukong hurriedly said to Old Supreme Kai, "Old Supreme Kai, it's my turn next, let's start quickly." Old Supreme Kai nodded, asked Sun Wukong to sit cross-legged, and then started the ceremony. 5 hours later, the Old Supreme Kai went to the side to rest. 20 hours later, Sun Wukong stood up. He motioned for everyone to step aside, and then began to transform. 5 minutes later, Sun Wukong successfully transformed into Super Saiyan 5. After Sun Wukong, the old Supreme Kai helped Sun Wuming develop his potential. 25 hours later, Sun Wuming also transformed into Super Saiyan 5. In the following days, the old Supreme Kai helped Lapis, Raditz, Nappa, Sun Goten, Sunks, Sunbra, Klin, Yamcha, Tien Shinhan, Dumpling and others develop their potential. Everyone's strength has been greatly improved. Although the Lapis form has not changed, its strength has reached the level of an ordinary Super Saiyan 3. Raditz broke through to Super Saiyan IV, with long black hair hanging down to her waist, red fluff covering her upper body, bare chest, red eye sockets, and green pupils. However, even if they break through Super Saiyan IV, their strength is far inferior to that of Vegeta and others. The strength of Super Saiyan IV is only because their basic combat power is too low. Nappa also broke through Super Saiyan IV. His bald head became short hair. His originally tall and burly body became stronger, but his strength was slightly better than Raditz. Sun Goten, Zunkas, and Sanbra have all reached the level of Super Saiyan 2. Krillin's normal combat power increased tenfold, reaching 100 million. Tien Shinhan's normal combat power reaches 110 million. Yamcha's normal combat power reaches 20 million. Dumpling's normal combat power has reached 15 million. If the 4 of them use Kaioken, their strength is not bad. After the old Supreme Kai helped everyone develop their potential, in order to express his gratitude, Sun Wukong invited the old Supreme Kai trio to his home for dinner. When the old Supreme Kai heard this, he felt sleepy on the spot, so everyone returned to Bulma's house under the leadership of Jabat. After Son Goku saw everyone, he asked about everyone's improvement in strength, and then joined the banquet. After the Supreme Kai trio had a full meal, they returned to the Supreme Kai world. After that, everyone began the hard years of training again. Son Goku gathered the 7 Dragon Balls on the earth and summoned Shenron to make a wish, so that everyone could learn the instant transmission of the Adretites and have the ability to survive in the universe, so that they can also learn Son Goku's training method. Then Son Goku turned on Super Saiyan 6 and started to compete with the black hole. Son Goku steps towards the black hole step by step, step by step. A year later, Son Goku successfully reached the surface of the black hole. Son Goku looked around and saw nothing. He said to himself, "Black hole, it's so black." Then he started practicing. On this day, 2 uninvited guests came to the Earth. After the spacecraft landed on Earth, the 2 of them asked someone about Vegeta's whereabouts. When they learned that Vegeta was at Bulma's house, they rushed over without stopping. After the practitioners in the gravity room noticed it, they walked out of the gravity room. The middle-aged man of the 2 found Vegeta in the crowd with just one glance. The middle-aged man said, "King Vegeta, I haven't seen you for more than 20 years. When you grow up, you look exactly like King Vegeta." Vegeta heard this and said, "Who are you? How do you know me?" The middle-aged man smiled and said, "Who am I? I am Paragus. Even if you turn into ashes, Vegeta, I know you too." "Oh, it turned out to be you. I heard from my father that your son Broly had a fighting strength of 10,000 at birth. My father was afraid that your son would threaten his throne, so he killed him. Then you became resentful and broke away from Vegeta. Xing, why do you come to me for revenge now?" Vegeta smiled. Paragus said fiercely, "Yes, King Vegeta is dead, but you are still here, so the father's debt is paid by the son. Vegeta, have you figured out how to die?" Vegeta laughed when he heard this and said, "Ha ha ha, you are a piece of rubbish and you want to kill this prince. It is simply laughable." Paragus said, "Of course I can't, but my son can. He is the legendary, once in a 1,000 years Super Saiyan, so Vegeta, just wait to die." Hearing this, Vegeta stopped laughing and said, "Even if your son is the legendary Super Saiyan, so what, I can also transform into a Super Saiyan. Who will win is yet to be determined." Paragus was shocked when he heard this, but thinking of Broly's strength, he said, "Vegeta, no matter what you said is true or false, you will inevitably die today." Vegeta heard this and said, "Since you want to die, I will help you." Then he said to Piccolo and Sun Wukong, "Let's take them to the Supreme Kai world to resolve their grievances. This small broken ball of earth will definitely not be able to withstand the battle between us." The 2 nodded, then flashed to Paragus and Broly, cast instant transmission, and with them, they were in front of Supreme Kai Shin in an instant. Vegeta followed closely and used instant transmission to get in front of Supreme Kai Shin. At this time, Broly stared at Sun Wukong, and then shouted, "Kakarot, Kakarot." The aura on his body surged, and his slender figure became taller and stronger in an instant. When Sun Wukong saw this, he shouted, "I am not Kakarot, I am Sun Wukong, and Kakarot is our father." Sun Wu's answer was, "Kakarot, Kakarot," even more angrily. With each roar, Broly's aura became stronger, his hair gradually stood up and turned into a grass-green color, and grass-green flames spurted out from around his strong body. Seeing this, Paragus shouted, "Broly, stop." At the same time, he reached into his pocket and took out the button, avoiding it. The ring on Broly's head released an ultra-high voltage current, causing Broly's hair to stand up. Paragus responded with an even more angry and harsh roar of, "Kakarot, Kakarot." Immediately, the ring on Broly's head exploded, and Broly's black pupils disappeared. Paragus panicked and said, "This is bad, this monster has been released again." Broly yelled, "Ha ha ha, I'm a monster, no, I'm a devil." Then he pointed at Sun Wukong and said, "Kakarot, the blood sacrifice starts with you, ha ha ha." Seeing this, Sun Wukong said, "I have already said that I am Sun Wukong and Kakarot is our father. Why can't you understand?" "Kakarot, Kakarot," in response to Sun Wukong was Broly's roar and a green energy bomb. Sun Wukong slapped the energy bomb away. Seeing this, Vegeta said to the old Supreme Kai trio, "You guys should step aside, or we will fight later and hurt you." Without saying a word, the three of them instantly transmitted to Earth. Seeing this, Vegeta laughed and cursed. He ran very fast. On Broly's side, when he saw Sun Wukong slap him, he slapped his energy ball away and shouted, "Kakarot, you have some skills, but it's a pity that garbage is garbage. No matter how hard you try, you will never surpass me." Then a green energy bomb appeared in his chest and hit Sun Wukong again. Sun Wukong slapped the energy bomb away again. At the same time, he laughed and said, "This is the legendary Super Saiyan. Not only is his brain not good, but his strength is also not that good." "Kakarot, Kakarot," Sun Wu responded with an even more angry roar and fists as big as sandbags. Sun Wukong dodged as soon as he stepped away. A disc with a diameter of several hundred feet appeared on the ground. Seeing that he missed the hit, Broly turned his head and spread his legs 55 yards away, and rushed towards Sun Wukong. At the same time, he waved his left and right hands back and forth, throwing green energy bombs at Sun Wukong. Seeing this, Sun Wukong also rushed towards Broly, and at the same time waved his little hand to shoot away the energy bullets one by one. The two of them jabbed, and Sun Wukong's small fist collided with Broly's sandbag-sized fist. The clash of fists stirred up a gust of wind that shattered the surrounding boulders. Broly turned his fist into a palm and grabbed Sun Wukong's wrist. Sun Wukong dodged and kicked Broly in the chest. Broly didn't care. He laughed loudly, and while Sun Wukong was stunned, he grabbed Sun Wukong by his ankles and then started swinging him. After a few accelerations, he threw Sun Wukong into the air, and casually threw out 2 energy bombs, hitting Sun Wukong. Then he burst into laughter. Seeing this, Paragus said to Vegeta, "Vegeta, now you have seen how powerful Broly is. Unfortunately, Broly in this state is completely crazy. If he doesn't listen to my control, he will dominate the universe soon." When Vegeta heard this, he burst into laughter and said, "Paragus, I am really defeated by your naivety. You think Sun Wukong only has that little strength, ha ha ha, you really laughed to death." Paragus said angrily, "It seems that you won't cry until you see the coffin. When you face Broly later, you will know what despair is." Upon hearing this, Vegeta pointed his finger in the air and said to Paragus, "Paragus, open your dog eyes and take a good look, who is that?" "Impossible, absolutely impossible. That kid was hit by 2 energy bombs from Broly. How is it possible that he is safe and sound?" Paragus yelled. In midair, Sun Wukong shouted to Broly, "Silly big guy, that's good, he has 2 brushes." "Kakarot, Kakarot," Broly shouted. Then he ducked out of the way, arrived in front of Sun Wukong, and punched Sun Wukong with 1 punch. Sun Wukong made a mistake and hit Broly in the face with 1 punch. Broly used his head to push back Sun Wukong's fist. Then he reached out and grabbed Sun Wukong's neck. He pressed down and the two of them hit the ground. Then Broly gained the upper hand and held down Sun Wukong's neck, running wildly on the ground. Sun Wukong's body wiped out a trench on the ground. Then, Broly rewarded Sun Wukong with an energy bomb. He jumped into the air, looked at the smoke and dust on the ground, and laughed. After the smoke and dust dispersed, Sun Wukong stood up from the ground and said coldly to Broly, "Yes, the warm-up exercise just now was okay. It's my turn next." As soon as he finished speaking, Sun Wukong hit Broly in the abdomen with a fist, beating Broly into a bow shape, and then kicked him to the ground. Immediately afterwards, he grabbed Broly's neck with both hands, followed Broly's move just now, and used Broly as a bulldozer, rubbing against the ground crazily. After a while, another trench appeared on the ground. Sun Wukong dodged and retreated into the air. He put his hands on his hips and looked at his masterpiece. In the ditch on the ground, Broly slowly stood up from the ditch and looked at Sun Wukong. His anger suddenly soared and his arrogance was rekindled. A loud roar roared, "Kakarot, Kakarot." Immediately, the surrounding flames were covered with green lightning. Sun Wukong felt Broly's aura, then shouted loudly, transformed into Super Saiyan, then waved to Broly and said, "Come on, silly big guy, let's start the second round of the contest." "Kakarot, Kakarot." With 2 roars, Broly dodged and arrived in front of Sun Wukong, then stretched out his fist as big as a sandbag and hit Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong folded his hands and dodged the punch on one side of his body. Seeing this, Broly punched continuously. Sun Wukong stood in midair, swaying his body left and right, dodging Broly's attacks one by one, and never made a move from beginning to end. Broly was furious, raised his arms, and hit Sun Wukong with a grass-green energy ball in his chest. As soon as Sun Wukong ducked out of the way, a planet in midair was blasted into fireworks. When Broly saw Sun Wukong in front of him, he suddenly disappeared. Just as he was about to turn around, he felt a heavy blow on the back of his neck. Then he rolled his eyes and passed out. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Broly is the legendary Super Saiyan. How could he be defeated by that brat? Paragus shouted. Vegeta on the side sneered. So what about the legendary Super Saiyan? Do you know that the father of that brat was Burdok's son, Kakarot, a scumbag who was born with less than 5 combat powers? But do you know the strength of Kakarot now? How strong is Kakarot? Paragus asked. Kakarot's strength is already comparable to or even surpasses that of the supreme god in the universe, gods of destruction Beerus, Vegeta said. Who are the gods of destruction Beerus? Paragus asked. Trash like you, who have never even heard of gods of destruction, dare to talk nonsense. It is simply wishful thinking to rely on the legendary Super Saiyan to dominate the universe. Gods of destruction is the supreme god in the universe, and his strength is deep. Unpredictable, he is the well-deserved number 1 in the universe, Vegeta said. Paragus was dumbfounded when he heard this. Vegeta continued. And Kakarot, some time ago, has transformed into Super Saiyan 6. According to my guess, his strength is not under gods of destruction Beerus. A legendary Super Saiyan like Broly can probably be blown to death in one breath. So Paragus, you are like a clown sitting in a well looking at the sky. Piccolo was standing aside, listening to Vegeta's words, and thought to himself, Vegeta is killing people and killing people. Upon hearing this, Paragus broke down and muttered to himself, I am a clown, sitting in a well and looking at the sky. I am a clown, sitting in a well and looking at the sky. Seeing this, Piccolo shook his head and said to Vegeta, this Paragus's mental endurance is so poor, you just said a few words, and he had a mental breakdown. Vegeta heard this and was about to say a few more words when he saw Sun Wukong carrying Broly to the two of them. Sun Wukong said to Vegeta, Uncle Vegeta, how should we deal with this Broly? Vegeta heard this, thought for a moment, and then said, leave him to Kakarot. This kid is a talent. We Saiyan need such a talent now. Sun Wukong and Piccolo nodded. With Son Goku's strength, he's not afraid of what Broly can do. Piccolo looked at Paragus and said, what should I do with this old guy? Vegeta said, let's take it back to Earth together. Okay, since we are here, we are not afraid of him playing tricks, Piccolo said. Then the three cast instant transmission, taking Paragus and Broly with them, and returned to Earth. When the old Supreme Kai saw the three people returning, he said, done. Sun Wukong smiled and said, Broly's level is almost as strong as Raditz's Super 3. I took action and it was easy to defeat him. The old Supreme Kai heard this and said, I see, I thought this guy could be so powerful, but that's all. Sun Wukong smiled and said, Old Supreme Kai, since you are here, have a meal before leaving. Old Supreme Kai said, no problem, that's what we have in mind. Piccolo said to the old Supreme Kai, Old Supreme Kai, this old guy, as Vegeta said, is heartbroken and crazy, and there is no way to cure him. The old Supreme Kai took one look at Paragus's condition and said, it's nothing. Then come to Paragus, stare at Paragus, and perform the staring technique. After a moment, Piccolo was asked, what's this guy's name? Paragus, said Piccolo. The old Supreme Kai looked at Paragus and shouted, Paragus, if you don't wake up now, when will you stay? Paragus was frightened by the old Supreme Kai's roar. Then he came to his senses and yelled at the old Supreme Kai, old man, you yelled like a hammer and scared me. When the old Supreme Kai heard this, he jumped up and slapped Paragus on the forehead. Then he said, is that what you call me, old man? I'm afraid you haven't understood the situation. I am Supreme Kai, the supreme god in the universe, who is in charge of creation. Son Goku is my best friend. I am very fond of Vegeta, Sun Wukong, Piccolo and others. You have the grace to develop your potential. What is your level and my status? Do you dare to be so presumptuous with me? When Paragus heard this, he immediately shrank in fear. Seeing this, the old Supreme Kai nodded and said, that's right. You need to be powerful and have a background to hang out. I have both strength and background. If you, a little brat like you, meet me, you have to hide away. First, instead of yelling at me like a fool, do you understand? Hearing this, Paragus nodded and said quickly, Sir Supreme Kai, you are right. When the old Supreme Kai heard this, he nodded with satisfaction. Vegeta said to Paragus, Paragus, for the sake of your son Broly's talent, we will spare your life, and you can stay well on Earth. Don't have any other ideas, otherwise there will be no consequences. Let's talk more. Paragus nodded quickly and said, I understand, King Vegeta, thank you. You are forgiving and don't argue with me. Vegeta waved his hand and continued, leave your son Broly to Kakarot. When he comes back, he will take care of your son's problem. Paragus heard this and said happily, really, King Vegeta, Kakarot can really cure Broly's mania. Vegeta said, it should be no problem. Kakarot is well informed and should have a solution. Right, old Supreme Kai, turned to old Supreme Kai and said. After hearing this, the old Supreme Kai said, in Broly's case, it should be that he was unable to control his own power, and was carried away by the power. This kind of disease requires physical therapy, and Goku can definitely do it. When Piccolo, Vegeta, and Sun Wukong heard this, they thought to themselves, what the hell, physical therapy, isn't it just a beating? Paragus heard this and said with great joy, that's great. Broly's symptoms have troubled me for a long time. For this reason, I specially made a controller that can suppress Broly, but it's a pity that it's of no use. The old Supreme Kai said, it's better to block than to open up. Using the controller can only suppress it for a while, and it also suppresses Broly's strength. So the best way is to let Broly explode completely, and then let Goku carry out targeted treatment, so that it can be eradicated. Quote. That's it. Thank you, Lord Supreme Kai, for clarifying my doubts. Paragus said respectfully. Old Supreme Kai waved his hand. Vegeta said, okay, now that things are settled, it's time for us to eat. Sun Wukong said, yes, I'm hungry. Let's go to the restaurant. Several people nodded after hearing this, and Paragus said, what should we do about Broly? Sun Wukong said, let him be unconscious for a while, and then wake him up after my father comes back to prevent him from going crazy. Paragus nodded. Then a few people went to the restaurant to eat. Son Goku finished training on the black hole, cast instant transmission, and returned home. Feeling his rumbling stomach, he went to the cafeteria to prepare for a meal. As soon as I arrived at the door, I found someone lying on the ground. When I took a closer look, I was quite surprised and thought to myself, isn't this the grass-green Chuan Chao Broly? How come he's here and he's still unconscious? So Son Goku stepped forward and pushed Broly. Broly still didn't move, so Son Goku opened his bow from left to right and rewarded Broly with more than a dozen big cock bags. Broly woke up leisurely, looked around with confused eyes, and then looked at Son Goku in front of him. The more he looked at it, the more familiar he felt. Suddenly, a flash of lightning flashed across his mind, and the aura on his body surged. His thin body instantly swelled up, and in the blink of an eye he turned into a muscular man, shouting, Kakarot, Kakarot. When Son Goku saw this, he smiled and said, what's so special about it? Broly, Kakarot, Son Goku. What lot? Broly said angrily. Kakarot, and then his aura turned into grass green, and his black pupils disappeared. Upon seeing this, Son Goku released Super Saiyan 6 transformation, returned to normal, and then said to Broly, Broly, today I will use normal to defeat you, the legendary Super Saiyan who only meets once in 1,000 years. People practicing in the gravity room and people eating in the restaurant all ran out and came to the scene when they felt the movement outside. Vegeta said, Kakarot, you are back. This guy is the legendary Super Saiyan, Broly. He and his father Paragus came to me for revenge before and were knocked unconscious by Sun Wukong. Now he will be handed over to you. Remember, don't beat him to death. Our Saiyan talent is withering now. This guy is good, he can be used for his own purposes. Son Goku heard this and said with a smile, Vegeta, you actually have a love for talents. It's really surprising. Vegeta heard this and snorted coldly. I don't believe it, you don't want to accept him as your little brother. Son Goku smiled and said, ha ha ha, Vegeta, you know me, this guy is indeed a talent, so I will reluctantly agree to your request. HMPH, Kakarot, you're so good at taking advantage of it, Vegeta snorted coldly. Son Goku smiled, then disappeared and appeared next to Broly. He reached out to grab Broly and cast instant transmission to enter the Supreme Kai world. Seeing this, the old Supreme Kai asked Vegeta, won't Goku bring Broly to the Supreme Kai world again? Vegeta sensed Son Goku's aura and said, yes, Kakarot and Broly went to the Supreme Kai world. Isn't Son Goku using the instant transmission of the Adratites? How could he reach the Supreme Kai world? Supreme Kai Shin asked doubtfully. Piccolo said, Old Son has practiced divine power for so many years and must have reached a very high level. I'm afraid he has also learned your instant transmission. Otherwise, how could he have gone to uninhabited red giant stars and black holes to practice before? Everyone felt it was reasonable when they heard this, and JB said, then do you still want to watch the battle between them? What's so interesting about the fight between them? You didn't think Kakarot would overturn, right? Vegeta said. Piccolo heard this and said, Vegeta is right, let's do what we should do and don't waste our time. So everyone should practice cultivation and eat. In the Supreme Kai world, Broly launched an attack on Son Goku as soon as he arrived in the Supreme Kai world. The tyrannical body crashed into Son Goku unreasonably. Son Goku saw this and stood motionless. Broly bumped into Son Goku's body, and then just like an ordinary person hitting a wall, he took a few steps back and his forehead was bleeding. There was an expression of disbelief on Broly's face, and then he became fierce, shouted, and transformed into the legendary Super Saiyan 2. He clenched his left and right hands out of thin air, and 2 more energy bombs appeared in his hands, and then they were thrown towards Son Goku. Son Goku remained motionless, letting the energy bombs hit his body. The smoke dissipated, and Son Goku was unharmed. He patted the dust on his body, extended his middle finger to Broly, and then hooked his fingers. The irritable Broly, who could not bear this humiliation, immediately shouted, Kakarot. Then the energy bomb in his hand was thrown at Son Goku for free. Son Goku still didn't move, not even bothering to defend himself, letting the energy bombs hit his body. Broly bombarded for half an hour, and then showed a devilish smile. The smoke dissipated and Son Goku was still unharmed. Broly saw this and shouted, Kakarot, are you a monster? Son Goku laughed and said, Monster? No, I am a devil, ha ha ha. Kakarot, Kakarot, Broly hissed loudly. Then he dodged and punched Son Goku in the chest. Son Goku remained motionless, looking at Broly. Upon seeing this, Broly launched a fierce attack on Son Goku without saying a word. Fists the size of sandbags rained down on Son Goku's indestructible body. Half an hour later, Broly looked at his swollen fist, and then looked again. Son Goku, who was still calm, was so frightened that he backed away. Black pupils appeared in his white eyes. Kakarot, are you indestructible? Broly said. Hey, Broly, you regained consciousness, Son Goku said in surprise. Yes, Kakarot, your strength has scared away the manic consciousness in my body. Now I can control my body freely, Broly said. That's it, congratulations, Broly, Son Goku said. Thank you, Kakarot, Broly said. Then Broly, what are your plans next? Son Goku asked. I want to practice with you, is that okay? Broly asked. Son Goku stretched out his hand and said, welcome to join, Broly. Broly was stunned when he saw this, then stretched out his big hand like a leaf fan and held Son Goku's hand. Thank you, Kakarot. Son Goku said, you're welcome, from now on, we are friends. Friends, Broly murmured. That's right, friend, Son Goku smiled. Hearing this, Broly nodded excitedly and said, yes, we are friends. Son Goku smiled and said, well, my friend, let's go to my house and I'll treat you to dinner. Okay, Kakarot, Broly said. Son Goku nodded, then cast instant transmission and returned home to the door of the restaurant. The two walked into the restaurant and saw Vegeta, Sun Wuzhen, Sun Wuming, Old Supreme Kai Shin, Gebet, and Paragus devouring delicious food. Especially for Vegeta, Sun Wuzhen, and Sun Wuming Paragus, the plates next to them are as high as one person. After Son Goku and Broly walked in, they stopped eating. Paragus said to Broly, Broly, have you regained consciousness? Broly smiled and said, yes, father, Kakarot helped me expel the demons in my body. Now I have complete control over my body. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe my channel. Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I am Son Goku, suppressing the world of Dragon Ball. Chapter 71. When Paragus heard this, he was very happy, and finally no longer had to worry. The two were separated for half their lives, and Paragus was worried all the time that Broly couldn't control himself that day and killed his biological father. Now that I heard that Broly would not turn into a demon, I was finally relieved. Afterwards, Son Goku took Broly and joined the dinner party. After more than 10 years of eating such delicious food, Broly shed tears of dissatisfaction. Then he transformed into a super hard worker and started gobbling up everything. After eating, Son Goku gathered everyone and introduced Broly and Paragus to everyone. Everyone clapped their hands and expressed their warm welcome. Later in the evening, Son Goku settled Broly and Paragus, and went to Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Lazuli to exchange feelings. The next day, Son Goku took Broly and Paragus into the gravity chamber and let them practice inside. Broly has never practiced in the past 20 years, otherwise he would never have that much strength. Son Goku told Broly to practice in the gravity room first, and after he clears the level, he will arrange for him to practice in the next step. Then Son Goku started training on the black hole again. A month later, Broly successfully cleared the gravity chamber and found Son Goku. Son Goku handed Broly a weight-bearing garment and asked him to put it on and re-enter the gravity chamber to practice. 3 months later, Broly cleared the gravity chamber again, and Son Goku took Broly to the Supreme Kai world via instant transmission. Upon seeing this, the old Supreme Kai said, "Goku, you won't come to fight again, the Supreme Kai world has just been repaired not long ago." Son Goku waved his hand and said, "No, I brought Broly here because I want him to show the results of his training." "Oh, that's it, then I can rest assured, Goku, you can do whatever you want," said the old Supreme Kai. Son Goku nodded, took Broly to the open space, and let Broly start to transform. Broly shouted loudly, and green aura surged out from his body. His muscles bulged, his hair turned green, and in the blink of an eye he transformed into the legendary Super Saiyan. Son Goku motioned for Broly to continue. Broly then roared and transformed into Super Saiyan 2 again. Son Goku saw this and said to Broly, "Broly, think about something angry." Broly lowered his head in thought, and suddenly, the cry of Kakarot when he was a child sounded in his mind, and he suddenly became angry. Shouted, "Kakarot, Kakarot!" Immediately, the grass-green hair on his head quickly grew longer, his eyebrows disappeared, his brow bones protruded, his pupils turned green, and the arrogance on his body turned into flames. After a while, Broly transformed into the legendary Super Saiyan 3. Her grass-green hair hangs down to her waist, and her stern face looks a bit evil. Son Goku said, "Broly, that's right. In just 4 months, your strength has made great progress. You are truly worthy of being the legendary Super Saiyan." Broly said, "Kakarot, this is all thanks to you." Son Goku smiled, and then said, "Next, every day, you should maintain the legendary Super Saiyan 3 state for as long as possible, normalize it, and move towards the legendary Super Saiyan 3 limit. Practice." Broly said, "Kakarot, I will listen to you." When Son Goku heard this, he smiled and said to himself, "This guy is not in vain. He is very talented and quite obedient." Then he took Broly, said hello to old Supreme Kai, and returned home. After eating, Son Goku asked Broly to continue practicing. He lowered his head and began to meditate. During this period, his practice of Super Saiyan 6 had been a bit slow. It was time to practice Super Saiyan God. In the days that followed, Son Goku began to practice his divine power. 1 month later, Son Goku successfully cultivated into the state of Super Saiyan God. Red hair, red eyes, thin body, unable to feel any breath. Vegeta saw Son Goku in this form, felt the breath, and found that he couldn't feel any breath at all, so he said, "Kakarot, what kind of transformation is this? Why can't I feel any breath from you?" Son Goku smiled and said, "Vegeta, this form is called the Super Saiyan God form. It is the result of successful cultivation of divine power. You need to use divine power to feel the strength." Hearing this, Piccolo used his divine power to inform Son Goku of his strength, and found that Son Goku's strength in this state was not weaker than Vegeta from Super Saiyan 5. He opened his mouth and said, Goku, haven't you already reached Super Saiyan 6? Why did you suddenly think of practicing divine power again? Son Goku said, the journey of training in Super Saiyan 6 is far more difficult than before. The progress has been slow in the past few months, so I thought about cultivating divine power. That's it, Piccolo said. Son Goku said, you can also practice your divine power, and you may have unexpected gains. Everyone nodded and then dispersed. Bulma saw Son Goku's new form and said, Goku, is this a new form that you have cultivated again? Why are you so thin? Son Goku said, yes, this form, I call it Super Saiyan God, is the result of successful cultivation of divine power. Do you want to give it a try? Bulma saw this and smiled. In this form, you are as thin as a thin dog, is that okay? Son Goku smiled and said, Bulma, you are drifting again, okay, let's see you tonight, I will make you unable to walk tomorrow. Oh yo, I'm so scared, okay let's see you tonight, Bulma said with a smile. Son Goku smiled and nodded, then went to show Chi-Chi and Lazuli. In the evening, the three of them arrived as promised and started a battle between mortals and gods with Son Goku. After all, the gods are better. In the following days, Son Goku majored in divine power. 3 months later, he completed the training of Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. His hair turned blue, his pupils also turned blue, and even the flames around his body turned blue-white, and his strength was further improved. Son Goku murmured, it's time to learn Ultra Instinct from Whis. A few days later, Son Goku arrived in the Gods of Destruction world and saw Whis eating elbow. When Whis saw Son Goku arriving, he put down his elbow and said to Son Goku, oh, long time no see. Goku, what kind of wind brings you here? Son Goku said, Whis, I'm here to learn angel skills from you. Oh, Goku, let me see if your physical strength meets the requirements first, Whis said. Then he picked up the magic staff and knocked on Son Goku for a while, then stared at the magic staff and looked at it carefully. After a moment, he said seriously, Goku, I didn't expect that your physical strength has reached such a level. I'm afraid that the strength below Gods of Destruction will no longer pose any threat to you. Son Goku smiled and said, Whis, you don't have to say much to praise me. Just talk about my physical strength and whether I can practice your skills. Hearing this, Whis smiled and said, of course, I just don't know how well you are practicing your divine power. Son Goku immediately transformed into Super Saiyan Blue. Whis saw this and said, yes, the divine power has also met the requirements. So Whis, can I learn your God's control skills now? Son Goku asked. Whis said, that's enough. My divine control skill, called Ultra Instinct, is divided into 3 levels. The first level is the ultimate instinct of freedom. The second level is the ultimate instinct of freedom. The third level is Ultra Instinct. Freedom, ultimate meaning, truth. Son Goku asked, what's the difference between these 3 types? Whis said, ZZE Jiao is the introductory stage of Ultra Instinct, ZZE Peak is the success of Ultra Instinct practice, and ZZE Gen is the peak of Ultra Instinct practice, reaching the point of returning to nature. I see, then Whis, what level have you reached in your cultivation? Son Goku said. Whis smiled and said, I have reached the 3rd level of cultivation. Son Goku asked again, what level has Master Beerus reached in his cultivation? Whis smiled and said, Goku, let's start practicing. You can ask this question yourself after Lord Beerus wakes up. Okay, Son Goku smiled. Whis said, the essence of Ultra Instinct is to allow the body to attack and defend itself, rather than relying on the brain's reaction to attack and defend. Son Goku said, just let go of your mind and let all parts of the body automatically defend against the enemy. Not bad, Goku, Whis said. Son Goku said, Whis, what should we do? Whis said, the specific method is divided into 3 steps. The first step is to empty your mind and eliminate distracting thoughts. The second step is to strengthen muscle memory and cultivate the body's combat awareness. The third step is to fuse the 2. In this way, you can get started with Ultra Instinct. Son Goku heard this and said, Whis, let's get started. Whis nodded and said, Goku, let's start from the first step. What you have to do now is to empty your mind and eliminate distracting thoughts during the battle. Son Goku nodded and said, Just let your thoughts go as far as you can, so that when fighting, your mind will not be distracted, and you will reach the ultimate level of emptiness. Whis smiled and said, "Yes, Goku, you understand it very well. Let's take the first step now. I don't need to tell you that you should know how to do it." Son Goku nodded, then stepped aside, closed his eyes and concentrated, wandering around. Upon seeing this, Whis began to create various disturbances, trying to interrupt Son Goku's state. Son Goku remained unmoved, like an old monk entering samadhi. Whis saw this and secretly praised him. Son Goku's trance lasted for 2 hours. If it weren't for the loud protest from his stomach, Son Goku would still be able to go on. Son Goku opened his eyes, his thoughts returned, and he smiled at Whis. "Whis, let's eat." Whis nodded and said, "Let's go then." Son Goku ducked to Whis' side, cast instant transmission, returned home, and entertained Whis. After eating, Son Goku sent Whis back to the Gods of Destruction world and returned home. The next day, I went to the Gods of Destruction world to practice as usual. This lasted for 3 months. Whis asked Son Goku to start the second step of training. This step of training is mainly about fighting Whis, strengthening muscle memory, and cultivating the body's fighting consciousness. Whis asked Son Goku to fight him normally, and with a wave of the staff, he put a pair of armor on Son Goku that restricted his body movement. Then the two began to fight. Needless to say, Son Goku was beaten until his face was bruised, but he couldn't touch Whis' clothes. Son Goku was not discouraged. In this way, day after day, Whis began to train Son Goku. Half a year later, Whis waved his staff and removed Son Goku's armor, starting the second phase of training. Another half year passed, and Son Goku's muscle memory and body's fighting awareness had been developed. Then Son Goku began the third step of training, integrating the first 2 steps of training into one, trying to unlock the ultimate meaning of freedom. 1 year and 3 months later, after 2.5 years of practice, Son Goku finally successfully unlocked the ultimate instinct and entered the introductory stage of Ultra Instinct. Son Goku's whole body was wrapped in a ball of silver flames, his eyes were silver, and his hair was still black. Apart from the color of his eyes and flames, he looked no different from his normal self. However, there was a world of difference in the fighting power between the two. Whis praised, "Goku, your understanding is the first person I have seen in my endless years. If Lord Beerus is not lazy, he may be able to match you." Son Goku said humbly, "Whis, I deserve the award. I'm just more diligent than others. In terms of talent, it's just average." Whis laughed when he heard this and said, "It's just average. I mean, it took 2.5 years of practice to successfully get started with Ultra Instinct. It took less time than all the Gods of Destruction. Goku, you are so humble." Son Goku smiled awkwardly when he heard this, and then said, "Whis, in order to express our gratitude to you, let's go to my house and I'll treat you to a big meal." Hearing this, Whis smiled so hard that his eyes narrowed, and said, "Okay, Goku, then I'm not welcome." Son Goku smiled and said, "Whis, you must not be polite." After that, using instant transmission, the two arrived at Son Goku's house. Son Goku went to the kitchen and entered the names of all 108 dishes for the Manchu Hanbon banquet on the computer of the cooking robot. After that, the cooking robot started to get busy. Son Goku came to the restaurant, chatted with Whis, and waited for the robot to serve the food. An hour later, the robot began to serve the dishes, one dish after another. After a while, the table was filled with delicious food. Every dish was different and no dish was repeated. Whis was dazzled. Without even bothering to say hello to Son Goku, he picked up the chopsticks on the table and tasted it. When you enter the food, Whis makes you feel that your whole soul has been sublimated, and it is so delicious that it explodes. Seeing Whis' appearance, Son Goku couldn't help but smile and started eating. Whis chewed slowly and Son Goku devoured it, making Whis shake his head. In his opinion, eating Son Goku this way is simply a waste of natural resources. 2 hours later, Son Goku was full. After packing Whis, he used instant transmission to send Whis back to the world of Gods of Destruction. After getting started with Ultra Instinct, Son Goku can practice on his own. In the days that followed, Son Goku practiced even harder. The progress of Ultra Instinct is advancing by leaps and bounds. Half a year later, Son Goku successfully cultivated Ultra Instinct to perfection and reached the pinnacle. A normal body shape, silver hair, silver pupils, and silver flames appeared in front of Whis. Whis was shocked. In just half a year, Son Goku had mastered Ultra Instinct to such an extent. How could Whis not be shocked? You must know that all the gods of destruction, including Beerus, have not mastered the perfect Ultra Instinct. Son Goku has only practiced Ultra Instinct for 3 years and surpassed all the gods of destruction. This talent is simply unprecedented. Whis smiled and said, "Now, your strength has completely surpassed Lord Beerus, and is only inferior to us angels." Son Goku heard this, nodded, and then invited Whis to his home for dinner. As soon as Whis heard about the meal, he couldn't wait. So, Son Goku returned home with Whis. Coincidentally, the old Supreme Kai trio were also there. Seeing Son Goku, Supreme Kai Shin hurriedly said, "Goku, Babidi has appeared." Son Goku heard this and said, "I see, why are you all here?" Old Supreme Kai yelled at Supreme Kai Shin, "You are afraid of a hammer. There are so many strong people here. If you just pull one out, you can kill Majin Buu in an instant." Supreme Kai Shin heard the words and said, "Ancestor, I understand, but if Majin Buu is not eliminated for a day, I will have trouble sleeping and eating. Even if I fall asleep, it will always be Majin Buu in my dreams." When the old Supreme Kai heard this, he covered his face and felt helpless. Son Goku smiled and said, "Supreme Kai, when Majin Buu appears, you can pick any of the strong men here to help you get rid of Majin Buu." Supreme Kaixin nodded after hearing this and looked at Vegeta and others. Vegeta saw this and said, "Don't look at me, I'm not interested in picking up the trash." Supreme Kaixin looked at Piccolo again. Piccolo said, "I'm not interested either." Supreme Kaixin looked at Sun Wukong again. Seeing this, Sun Wukong said, "Okay, then I will reluctantly take action." Supreme Kai Shin was deeply moved when he heard this. Whis said to the old Supreme Kai, "Long time no see, Lord Supreme Kai." The old Supreme Kai heard this and said, "Long time no see, Whis." Seeing this, Supreme Kai Shin said to the old Supreme Kai, "Ancestor, you know Whis." The old Supreme Kai said angrily, "Nonsense, I know Beerus, how can I not know Whis?" "Oh, right," Supreme Kai Shin said, slapping his forehead. Son Goku smiled and said, "Okay, since everyone is here, let's have a banquet to celebrate." Everyone raised their hands in agreement. So a gourmet feast was held in the restaurant. After a while, the food delivery robots formed a long queue and brought the delicious food to the table, and everyone began to eat and drink. While eating, Son Goku looked at Broly and said, "Broly, how is your legendary Super Saiyan 4 training going?" Broly said, "Kakarot, my Super Saiyan 4 is almost reaching full power." Son Goku heard this, nodded, and then started eating and drinking. The old Supreme Kai looked at Whis and said, "Whis, how long will it take for Beerus to wake up?" Whis said, "About 10 years. "Oh, there are still 10 years left," the old Supreme Kai said meaningfully. Whis was confused, but didn't think much about it. After everyone had eaten, they dispersed. The old Supreme Kai trio returned to the Supreme Kai world. Son Goku used instant transmission to send Whis back to the Gods of Destruction world. A few days later, Bulma received an invitation letter from the organizer of the 21st Martial Arts Conference, inviting Son Goku to participate in the martial arts conference. The reason why Son Goku was invited was because the ratings of the last martial arts tournament were dismal, so the organizer wanted to let Son Goku participate in this martial arts tournament in order to increase the ratings. In the evening, when Son Goku returned home, Bulma said, Son Goku didn't want to participate at first, but he felt that it was boring to practice all the time. It would be good to relax once in a while, so he decided to participate. The next day, Son Goku told everyone that everyone except Vegeta planned to participate. Seeing this, Vegeta had no choice but to participate. After all, everyone else was participating. It would be boring to stay at home if he didn't go alone. In this way, Son Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Piccolo, Sun Wukong, Sun Wuming, Raditz, Nappa, Lapis, Krillin, Tien Shinhan, Yamcha, and Dumpling signed up to participate in the adult group competition. Sun Goten, Sunks, and Sunbala signed up to participate in the youth group competition. A few days later, Everyone lined up at the venue to tap the tester. Everyone else restrained their strength, but Vegeta, who was unhappy, smashed the tester with one punch. When everyone saw this, they all covered their faces, indicating that they were not familiar with Vegeta. The two evil men controlled by Babidi also signed up to participate in the martial arts competition. The purpose is the same as the original work, to collect the energy to resurrect Majin Buu. Son Goku naturally noticed all this and didn't care. When the conference progressed from 32 to 16, two evil men took action, and their target was Sun Wukong. They simply lit a lamp in the toilet, seeking death. After Son Goku locked Babidi's hiding place, he left the conference site. Everyone saw this and followed him. Outside a dilapidated universe spacecraft, I met Babidi's subordinate, the king of the demon world Dappura. After Dappura saw Son Goku, he smiled and said, "I didn't expect you had some skills to find this place." Son Goku smiled and said, "Take me to Babidi, don't make me say it twice." Dappura smiled and said, "Son Goku, your spectrum is quite big. Lord Babidi, you can be seen by everyone." Before he finished speaking, he saw Son Goku blowing on Dappura, and then Dappura turned into powder. At this moment everyone also arrived. Vegeta said, "Kakarot, you were the one who asked me to attend the martial arts tournament, and now you are the one taking the lead to leave. What are you doing?" Son Goku smiled and said, "Let Supreme Kai remember, Majin Buu is here 5 million years ago. Do you want to see it?" "I see, Kakarot, are you here to see Majin Buu?" Vegeta said. "Of course, otherwise what would I do if I have nothing to do?" Son Goku said. "Then let's go in," Piccolo said. "No hurry, wait for Supreme Kai, I think he should be here soon," Son Goku said. As soon as he finished speaking, Supreme Kai Shin, Old Supreme Kai and JB arrived. As soon as Supreme Kai Shin met, he said to Son Goku, "Goku, Babidi is inside, Majin Buu should be inside too, what should we do?" Son Goku smiled and said, "Just go in." Supreme Kai's face stiffened when he heard this, and said, "This is not good, what if we are ambushed?" When the old Supreme Kai heard this, he jumped up and his brain collapsed, and roared, "You kid, you are really frightened by Majin Buu. We have so many strong people here, what are you afraid of, let alone Goku, this one surpasses Beerus the strong man will protect you." Supreme Kai Shin heard this and immediately reacted, "Yeah, what am I afraid of? Majin Buu is nothing when Goku is here," so he said, "Okay, just listen to Goku." Son Goku took the lead into the spaceship, followed by everyone. The two-level mobs were easily dispatched by Son Goku. Afterwards, everyone found the eggs of Babidi and Majin Buu at the bottom of the spacecraft. Enemies are extremely jealous when they meet. Supreme Kai Shin yelled, "Babidi, do you know how I have lived these 5 million years? Do you know, Majin Buu is dead today. Gods of destruction will not be able to keep him," I said. Babidi laughed when he heard this and said, "With these rubbish you invited, although they are good and can kill Dappura instantly, they are nothing compared to my Majin Buu." Vegeta heard this and said angrily, "Who are you calling trash?" Babidi said, "I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about you all being rubbish. You're looking for death," Vegeta yelled. Then with a wave of his hand, Babidi turned into powder. Vegeta spat, "Bah, what a dirty firework." Then he said to Son Goku, "What to do with Majin Buu's eggs, Kakarot?" Son Goku said, "If you give him some energy, he will come out." Vegeta heard this and said, "It's really troublesome." Then he reached out to the pink Majin Buu's dome and began to input energy. After a while, white smoke began to rise from the dome, covering the entire bottom of the spacecraft. Everyone didn't know why. After that, the dome disappeared. Seeing this, Vegeta looked at Son Goku and said, "Kakarot, what's going on? The dome has disappeared. Where is Majin Buu?" Son Goku pointed at the white smoke above Vegeta and said, "Majin Buu is in that white smoke, you will see him later." After everyone heard this, they looked at the white smoke. After a while, the white smoke closed up, and a big pink fat man appeared in the sky. Seeing this, Vegeta said to the big fat man, "You are Majin Buu, you don't look like much." Upon hearing this, Majin Buu stared at Vegeta and said, "Who are you? Where is Babidi?" Vegeta stretched out his thumb, pointed at his nose, and said with a smile, "I am Super Vegeta, and as for Babidi, he is everywhere." Oh, you idiot, did you kill Babidi? That would be great. As a thank you, I will let you go to the underworld painlessly. Majin Buu narrowed his eyes. Ha ha ha, even a trash like you wants to die for me. It really makes me laugh. Vegeta laughed. Son Goku saw this and said, okay, Vegeta, let's go out and talk. This place is too small and we won't be able to use it for a while. Okay, Kakarot, this pink fat boy will be handed over to me in a moment. You are not allowed to interfere until I have enough fun, Vegeta said. No problem, Vegeta, Son Goku said. Vegeta turned to Majin Buu and said, Pink fatty, let's go out and let me see later how strong you were and how you scared Supreme Kai to death. Supreme Kai Shin's face turned dark when he heard this. Majin Buu said, no problem, you can choose the place. I am only responsible for digging a hole for you to bury. HMPH, stop talking nonsense, it's not certain who will bury whom, Vegeta sneered. Then he turned and walked out of the spacecraft, followed by everyone, and Majin Buu also followed him out of the spacecraft. When everyone came outside, Vegeta said to Majin Buu, Pink fat guy, are you prepared to be beaten up by me? Majin Buu asked, Little dwarf, have you picked your grave? You are looking for death. Before he finished speaking, Vegeta punched Majin Buu in the face. Majin Buu was knocked upside down and flew out. Vegeta dodged, got behind Majin Buu, kicked him into the air, dodged again, got behind Majin Buu, kicked him to the ground, and then dodged again, got behind Majin Buu, and kicked him to the ground, in midair. In this way, Vegeta treated Majin Buu as a ball and kicked it repeatedly. After being kicked 5 or 6 times, Majin Buu reacted, forcibly stabilized his body, and then hit Vegeta with one punch. He followed the same pattern, treating Vegeta as a ball and kicking it up and down in midair. After being kicked 7 or 8 times, Vegeta burst out of anger, stabilized his body, and said to Majin Buu, not bad, pink fat guy, you still have some strength. Majin Buu said, you are not bad as a little dwarf. You were kicked several times by me and you didn't die. Ha ha ha, you didn't think that I had all my strength just now, right? It was just a warm-up, Vegeta laughed. Oh, really, sorry, I was warming up just now, Majin Buu said. Okay, it seems you really want to compete with me, King Vegeta. Come on, let me see what your real strength is, Vegeta said with a smile. After that, he dodged and struck with an elbow, flattening Majin Buu's face, and then kicked Majin Buu on the neck, kicking Majin Buu dozens of meters away. Vegeta didn't pursue him and just looked at Majin Buu. Majin Buu stood up from the ground, rubbed his face with his hands, and his big face returned to its original shape. Vegeta saw this and said, I asked you, why are you so confident? You have such a strong recovery ability, but this is what makes it interesting. Majin Buu said, with your little strength, you can't do any harm to me. HMPH, wait and see, Vegeta said. Majin Buu said, you were happy just now, now it's my turn. After saying that, he dodged and attacked Vegeta. Vegeta heard this and rushed towards Majin Buu. The two of them started a fierce hand-to-hand fight with fists and kicks in midair. On both sides, you chased me, dodged back and forth, you punched me, I kicked you, it was an even fight. But as time went by, Vegeta fell into a disadvantage and suffered more and more skin injuries. After a while, Vegeta was kicked into the ground by Majin Buu. Ha ha ha, Vegeta started fighting and laughed. Majin Buu narrowed his eyes and asked doubtfully, Little dwarf, were you beaten stupid by me? Vegeta said, I admit, I underestimated you. I didn't expect that your strength is beyond my normal strength. So now, if I transform into Super Saiyan, how will you respond? After saying that, Vegeta shouted loudly and instantly transformed into Super Saiyan state. Then he raised his finger at Majin Buu. Majin Buu saw this, felt Vegeta's strength, and was shocked, but then smiled evilly. He said to Vegeta, I didn't expect you, a little dwarf, to be so strong. Vegeta said, there are many things you didn't expect. Now let's start the second round of the battle. After saying that, he dodged and reached the top of Majin Buu's head. With just one punch, he punched Majin Buu's head into his stomach. Then he dodged, jumped aside, and watched his masterpiece. Majin Buu touched the neck, then grabbed the tail on the head, pulled it upward, and pulled the head out of the belly. Upon seeing this, Vegeta was also shocked by Majin Buu's actions. He said to Majin Buu, "Are you made of rubber? So elastic?" Majin Buu looked at Vegeta with a sinister and greedy smile. Vegeta saw this and said angrily, "What conspiracy are you thinking of? I tell you that all conspiracies are useless in the face of absolute strength." Majin Buu did not speak, but smiled more sinisterly. Vegeta was furious when he saw Majin Buu's expression, and he dodged and attacked Majin Buu. With an iron fist, he smashed Majin Buu through the stomach, then grabbed the tail on Majin Buu's head and threw it into the sky. Then there was a loud shout, a big explosion attack, and an energy wave attacked Majin Buu. Majin Buu was shocked. At the critical moment, he tore a piece of flesh from his body, threw it aside, and was then blasted into nothingness. "Tch, Majin Buu, at this level, garbage," Vegeta said disdainfully. He turned around and returned to the crowd. Son Goku pointed to the sky in the distance and said to Vegeta, "Vegeta, Majin Buu is not dead yet." Upon hearing this, Vegeta turned around and saw a ball of Majin Buu's flesh in the sky in the distance, twisting around and returning to Fat Buu's appearance. Seeing this, Vegeta said, "Why is this thing like Xiaoqiang who can't be beaten to death?" After saying that, he looked at Majin Buu. Fat Buu was extremely angry at the moment. He was almost sent away by Vegeta just now, thanks to him throwing a ball of meat at the last moment. The more Fat Buu thought about it, the angrier he became, and a large amount of white smoke suddenly appeared from his head. After a while, the white smoke shrank and condensed into a thin black Buu. When Fat Buu saw Thin Buu, he felt like he was facing a powerful enemy. The black Thin Buu looked at Fat Buu and smiled evilly, then he dodged and kicked Fat Buu to the ground. Vegeta was stunned for a moment, with question marks all over his forehead. Son Goku saw this and knew about the evil Buu, so he was forced to come out. He shouted to Vegeta, "Vegeta, that black skinny Buu is evil, just beat him and it will be over." Vegeta heard this and said, "Kakarot, are you sure you don't need to worry about Fat Buu?" Son Goku said, "Don't worry, that Fat Buu is the good Buu who was assimilated by the Supreme Kai. Thin Buu is the real evil Buu." Supreme Kai Shin, upon hearing this, said excitedly, "Goku, is what you said true?" Son Goku said, "That's right. Once Thin Buu is eliminated, you will know if you take a closer look at Fat Buu's character." Supreme Kai Shin heard this and said excitedly, "Unexpectedly, Supreme Kai really succeeded and assimilated Majin Buu." Son Goku corrected, "It's part of Majin Buu, not all of Majin Buu." The old Supreme Kai said, "I feel very happy to have such juniors. They are also Supreme Kai. Why is the gap so big?" "You think so, Shin?" Supreme Kai Shin smiled awkwardly when he heard this. After Vegeta heard Son Goku's reply, he ducked and arrived in front of the black Majin Buu. Just as he was about to speak, the tail on black skinny Buu's head emitted a beam of light, turning Vegeta into chocolate. Then he grabbed Vegeta and swallowed it into his stomach. Then he burst into laughter. When everyone in the distance saw this, they suddenly panicked. Supreme Kai Shin said, "Goku, Vegeta has been absorbed by Majin Buu. His power will increase dramatically. You should take action quickly." Son Goku smiled and said, "You underestimate Vegeta too much. He can transform into Super Saiyan 5. Will he be absorbed by Buu who has exhausted the strength of Super Saiyan 5? Piccolo said, "But old son, Vegeta has been eaten by Majin Buu. Can he come out?" Son Goku said, "Don't worry, Piccolo, Vegeta is not that easy to digest." The black Thin Buu was smiling happily when he heard Vegeta's voice coming from his stomach. "You are smiling happily, Majin Buu." Suddenly shocked, he clenched his fist and punched himself in the stomach. He was beaten more than 10 times in a row until he vomited sour water from his mouth. But it had no effect at all. Vegeta smiled and said, "Majin Buu, you are very cruel. If you are so cruel, you will even hit yourself, but it is of no use." When Majin Buu heard this, his expression became fierce. He gritted his teeth, rubbed the energy ball with his hand, and pressed it against his stomach. After a loud noise, the body below the stomach, including the stomach, was blown to pieces. Then Majin Buu shouted loudly, and his lower body returned to its original state. After listening to the sound and not hearing Vegeta's voice, he breathed a sigh of relief and laughed. Just as he was smiling, he heard Vegeta's voice again. Not bad, Majin Buu, you are cruel enough. Your body will explode whenever you want, but it's still useless. Slender Buu suddenly froze on the spot. After pondering for a moment, he made a fierce move, raised his hands above his head, condensed a huge energy ball, threw it into the air, and then dodged and hit the energy ball. With a loud bang, Majin Buu was blown to pieces. This operation made everyone stunned. A moment later, in the air, Majin Buu condensed again. After waiting for a long time, when Vegeta's voice was not heard, he laughed again. Ha ha ha, yes, Majin Buu, this is quite fun, continue. Vegeta's voice rang in Majin Buu's stomach again. Majin Buu froze again, and then exploded in anger. After a while, Majin Buu recovered, and Vegeta's mean voice sounded again. Majin Buu collapsed, raised his hands above his head, condensed an energy ball with a diameter of tens of kilometers, and threw it to the ground. When Son Goku saw this, he ducked, came under the energy ball, and kicked the energy ball out of the earth with one kick. Then he said to Vegeta, Vegeta, stop playing and come out. Majin Buu is anxious and wants to destroy the earth. He already has a reason to die. Hearing this, Vegeta shouted loudly inside Majin Buu, shattered Majin Buu's body, and walked out. He flew to Son Goku and said to Kakarot, what's going on? I'm having fun. Son Goku said, you are happy. Majin Buu collapsed, and just condensed an energy ball with a diameter of tens of kilometers to destroy the earth. I see, this thing is really unplayable. In that case, let's eliminate it as soon as possible, Vegeta said. Son Goku nodded and said, are you coming or am I coming? Vegeta said, let me do it. Things must be done from beginning to end. Son Goku nodded and returned to everyone in a flash. After a while, Majin Buu had recovered his body. When he saw Vegeta coming out of his body, he was immediately overjoyed. Vegeta saw this and said, you are happy too early. After saying that, he shouted loudly and transformed into Super Saiyan 4. Then he put his hands together and shouted, Big Bang Attack. The energy wave directly hit Majin Buu. Majin Buu didn't even say a word before he was blasted into nothingness. After Vegeta released the transformation, he looked underground again and saw the unconscious Fat Buu. He ducked out of the way, grabbed the tail on Fat Buu's head, and came to everyone. Kakarot, what should I do with this fat guy? Vegeta asked. Son Goku said, this Fat Buu is the Buu who has been assimilated by the Supreme Kai. He is not a threat. I think he will come with us. Anyway, one more of him is not much. Everyone heard the words and had no objections. So Son Goku squatted down in front of Fat Buu and patted Fat Buu's big face. After a while, Fat Buu slowly opened his small eyes. When he saw Son Goku, he was so frightened that he immediately stood up. Seeing this, Son Goku smiled, stood up, and said to Fat Buu, that evil Buu has been killed by us, you are free. When Fat Buu heard this, he jumped up and down with joy, as happy as a 300-pound child. Son Goku continued, I see you have nowhere to go, why not go to my house and I will support you. Fat Buu heard this and said, are you going to eat it? Son Goku smiled and said, of course, food and accommodation are included. When Fat Buu heard this, he nodded happily and said, okay, the treatment is settled, no regrets. Son Goku said, no problem. Then he turned to everyone and said, let's go back and celebrate. Supreme Kaixin took a breath and said, Majin Buu is finally solved, I can finally sleep well. Old Supreme Kai said, look at your potential. Supreme Kai Shin smiled awkwardly. Afterwards, everyone used instant transmission and returned to Bulma's house. Then there was another food feast. Fat Boo's little eyes widened as he looked at the food on the table. After picking up the plate, he devoured it and even licked the plate once. Seeing everyone's lips twitching, Son Goku said to Fat Buu, no need to lick the plate, there is plenty of food, enough for you to eat. When Fat Buu heard this, he smiled awkwardly and then calmed down a bit. After eating, everyone dispersed. Son Goku led Fat Buu to Bulma. After introducing Buu to Bulma, he said to Fat Buu, this is your long-term meal ticket. From now on, you will do whatever he asks you to do. When Fat Buu heard that Bulma was his long-term meal ticket, he pecked his head like a chicken pecking at rice. Bulma saw this and said, this Fat Buu is quite interesting, but I don't have anything to do, so let him play with Gogan, Goken, Wooly, and Xiaoxia. Son Goku nodded and led Fat Buu to meet some children. Several children heard that Fat Buu was here to play with them, and they were immediately happy. Fat Buu was also infected by the enthusiasm of several children and jumped up and down happily. Son Goku told the children not to bully Fat Buu. After several children agreed, Son Goku left. In the following days, everyone devoted themselves to practicing again. It's impossible not to practice. It's really difficult among everyone, especially Vegeta. Apart from eating, he just practices all day long. Son Goku also continued to practice on the black hole, but his improvement was not significant in a short period of time. Half a month later, Son Goku asked Bulma to make a Dragon Ball radar in preparation for finding the Super Dragon Ball. A few days later, Bulma completed the Dragon Ball radar. Son Goku took the Dragon Ball radar, first came to Namek, found the Great Elder, and with the help of Palunga, made a wish to know where the Super Dragon Balls were distributed, and made 2 random wishes, and then set out to find the Super Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Tour. Soon, Son Goku found 4 Super Dragon Balls distributed in the 7th universe. Then using instant transmission, the 4 Super Dragon Balls were gathered together. Of course, Whis discovered it. After asking about it, Whis told Son Goku not to disturb the order of the universe and then stopped caring about him. After Whis left, Son Goku passed through the universe barrier and reached the 6th universe. The moment Son Goku arrived at the 6th universe, Vados from the 6th universe felt it and picked up the staff to investigate. Beside, Gods of Destruction was chewing an unknown bird's egg. Seeing this, Champa asked, Vados, what happened? Vados said, there is a human from the 7th universe who crossed the barrier of the universe and came to our universe. Oh, who is this person? He is so brave, he actually dares to come to my universe and let me take a look, Champa said. After saying that, he came to Vados's staff and started looking at it. Then, a crab-headed human with a height of 1.8 meters and a strong body appeared in the staff. He looked around with an unknown machine. After a moment, reality disappeared. Seeing this, Champa said to Vados, why is the person missing? After hearing this, Vados took the magic staff and flicked it in the air. Son Goku's figure appeared in the magic staff again, and Vados was a little empty. The figure of Son Goku in the divine staff was thrown into the air. In the video, Son Goku fired an energy bomb towards a planet. Then the surface of the planet cracked, revealing its true face. It was a Super Dragon Ball, with 5 stars on it, indicating that it was a 5-star planet. When Vados and Champa saw this, they were shocked and said, it's a wishing ball. Champa came back to his senses and said angrily, Vados, we can't let this kid steal the wishing ball. Let's stop him quickly. Vados shook his head and said, Master Champa, judging from the situation just now, this human being should have learned that we have no time to stop Master Supreme Kai's instant transmission. Hearing this, Champa said, that can't be done. Let him steal the wishing ball in such a blatant manner. Vados heard this and said, Master Champa, you can go to Master Beerus to negotiate and ask for an explanation. When Champa heard this, his eyes lit up. He understood this matter, so he said, okay, it's settled, Vados, let's set off now. Vados nodded, used time travel, and headed straight to the 7th universe Gods of Destruction. Son Goku, who was collecting the Dragon Ball at this time, naturally didn't know all this. Son Goku took the 5 orbs he had just found and cast instant transmission. A moment later, he was in front of the next Super Dragon Ball. An energy bomb blasted open the surface, and 6 stars were inlaid on it. It was clearly a 6-planet planet. Later, Son Goku followed suit and found the 7 planets. Then he cast instant transmission, and a moment later he returned to the 7th universe, in front of 4 Super Dragon Balls. Looking at the 7 extremely large wishing balls in front of him, Son Goku said loudly in the language of God, come out, Super Shenron, and make my wish come true. I want to make it. Then, 7 Super Dragon Balls were seen blooming with extremely dazzling light, and then the 7 rays of light hit the sky above the universe and gathered together. Super Shenron emerged from it, spread its wings and soared across the universe. In an instant, countless galaxies were swallowed by the Super Dragon Ball, including the galaxy where Son Goku was located. After a moment, a smaller version of the golden Super Shenron appeared in front of Son Goku. To Son Goku, humans who gather the 7 wishing stars, tell them your wishes, no matter what they are, I can help you realize them. Can any wish really come true? Son Goku asked. Of course, any wish, Super Shenron said in a loud voice. Then I'm telling you, don't be angry, Son Goku said with a smile. Super Shenron heard this and said, say it, I won't argue with a mortal like you. Okay, my wish is to ask for 3 more wishes, Son Goku smiled. When Super Shenron heard this, he sweated on his forehead and said, I can't realize this wish. Young man, don't be too greedy. Just change your wish. Son Goku smiled, looked at Super Shenron and said, okay, I want my soul to not be exchanged by anyone and to have an immortal body. Can you make this wish come true? This wish is very simple. Super Shenron's eyes flashed red, and Son Goku felt a strange feeling coming from his body. Then I heard Super Shenron say, your wish has been fulfilled, goodbye. As soon as he finished speaking, Super Shenron turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the universe. The 7 Super Dragon Balls burst into light and then flew to every corner of the 6th and 7th universes. Seeing this, Son Goku immediately cast instant transmission and reached the world of gods of destruction. Whis saw this and said, Goku, your wish came true. Son Goku nodded and said, yes Whis. Whis nodded upon hearing this and did not ask Son Goku what wish he made. Son Goku said, I went to the 6th universe to look for the Super Dragon Ball. I should have been discovered by the angel and gods of destruction from the 6th universe. Whis smiled and said, yes, and they are coming here. Oh, that should be fine, right? Son Goku asked. Whis smiled and said, what's the matter? The Super Dragon Ball is not exclusive to the gods of destruction. It can be used by anyone or any god. The most reason they came is because you went to their universe for no reason and didn't follow them. They just reported it. Oh, that's it, then I'm relieved, Son Goku said. It's okay, don't forget, you are still a gods of destruction candidate, Whis said. Ah, yes, I forgot about this, Son Goku said, slapping his forehead. Whis smiled and said, you, a candidate for gods of destruction, can compete with Master Beerus. You don't complete the mission and destroy the planet. You only know how to practice and improve your strength. Son Goku heard this and said awkwardly, I know Whis. In the next period of time, I will complete the mission and destroy the planet. Whis heard this and nodded. At this moment, a colorful light arrived in front of Whis in the blink of an eye. The light dissipated, and a tall female angel with blue skin, pretty face, and a single ponytail appeared in front of them, and a purple hairless cat lying on the ground. Seeing this, Whis covered his mouth and smiled. Oh, Master Champa, although we haven't seen each other for many years, you don't have to give this gift as soon as we meet, right? Champa, who was lying on the ground, stood up after hearing this and said to Vados, did you do it on purpose? Hey, no, Master Champa, you were too fat, which caused too much inertia, and you lost your balance, so you fell to the ground. It has nothing to do with me, Vados said. Humph, forget it, I won't argue with you anymore. Then he said to Whis, long time no see, Whis, is that guy Beerus still asleep? Whis said, yes, Master Champa, Master Beerus, it will take a few years to wake up, what do you want from Master Beerus? HMPH, Whis, stop pretending, there was someone from the 7th universe just now, and he went to my 6th universe. Don't say you don't know about it, Champa said. Oh, Master Champa, you are talking about this, of course I know, that person is far away and right in front of you, Whis said. Then Son Goku, who had been standing by, said, this is the candidate for the 7th universe gods of destruction, Son Goku. He was the one who went to your universe just now. Champa and Vados looked at Son Goku and were surprised when they heard Whis' words, you are the candidate for Lord Beerus' skinny pork ribs. Son Goku smiled and said, yes, I am the candidate for Lord Beerus of gods of destruction. Hearing this, Champa held his stomach and laughed. After a while, he said to Whis, is Beerus thinking of retiring now? Whis said, Master Beerus doesn't know about this yet. I saw that Goku was quite good, so I made him serve as the gods of destruction candidate. Oh, this boy's strength can actually catch your eye. I think he must be quite capable. Champa looked at Son Goku with interest and said to Whis. Whis smiled and said, Master Champa, you will know after you try it. Hearing this, Champa looked at Whis and said, Whis, you're not trying to trick me again, are you? Tell me what this kid's strength is. Whis heard this and said with a smile, well, since Lord Champa asked, let me tell you, Goku's strength has surpassed Lord Beerus and is already comparable to the weakest angel. What, Whis, are you kidding? It's just him, a mere mortal, Champa yelled. Vados also said, Whis, are you telling the truth? Whis said, of course it is true. If you don't believe it, Master Champa can give it a try. Hearing this, Champa pondered for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, okay, I'll give it a try and see if this kid is really, as you said, as powerful as Angel. Then he looked at Son Goku and said, Son Goku, right. Come on, fight me twice and let me see what your strength is. Son Goku heard this and said, okay, Lord Champa, don't worry, I will be merciful. When Champa heard this, he said angrily, good boy, I will thank you later. Son Goku waved his hand and said, no, as long as Mr. Champa doesn't blame me. Stop talking nonsense, and then said to Whis, Whis, take us to the place where the battle is. You don't want to wake up Beerus. Whis nodded and said to Son Goku, Goku, let's go to the Supreme Kai world. It's far away from the gods of destruction world and won't wake up Lord Beerus. Son Goku said, okay, let's go. Whis asked Champa and Vados to gather around Son Goku, and then Son Goku cast instant transmission and arrived in the Supreme Kai world in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, Champa praised, let's not talk about your strength, but you did a really good job with instant transmission. Thank you, Lord Champa, for the compliment, Son Goku said with a smile. In the distance, the old Supreme Kai Shin, and Jabit saw the four people arriving, walked forward, said hello to Son Goku and Whis, and then looked at Champa and Vados. Upon seeing this, Whis introduced to the three of them, these two are Lord Champa, the gods of destruction from the 6th universe, and Vados, the angel from the 6th universe. Then he introduced the old Supreme Kai and Jabit to Champa and Vados. Champa laughed and said, ha ha ha, this guy Beerus is such a thief, he actually created two Supreme Kais. Old Supreme Kai smiled helplessly, while Supreme Kai Shin had a question mark on his face. He had never heard that there were other universes in this world. When the old Supreme Kai saw Supreme Kai Shin's expression, he was so angry that he jumped up and lost his mind. At the same time, he shouted, I told you to study more and eat less snacks. If you don't listen, you don't even know about the diverse universe. It's really embarrassing for me. Supreme Kai Shin covered his head and said, I know, ancestor, but you don't hit me on the head every time. If I get hit on the head too much, I will become a fool. The old Supreme Kai wanted to say a few more words, but Champa said, you two live treasures, we will talk later. Let me and Son Goku compete first. Hearing this, the old Supreme Kai said, okay, Master Champa, you go to the depths of the Supreme Kai world, that place is spacious. Champa nodded and said to the old Supreme Kai, lead the way. The old Supreme Kai said to Jabit, Jabit, take Master Champa and Goku to the depths of the Supreme Kai world. Hearing this, Jabit nodded, then came to Champa, let Champa grab his shoulders, and then cast instant transmission, taking Champa deep into the Supreme Kai world. Son Goku then also reached the depths of the Supreme Kai world. Seeing this, Jabit quickly cast instant transmission and returned to Supreme Kai. The old Supreme Kai took out a crystal ball and cast a spell, and Son Goku and Champa appeared in it. Whis saw this and said, Sir Supreme Kai, there is no need to look around the crystal ball. After saying that, the magic staff touched the ground and threw the figures of Champa and Son Goku into the air. The picture was large and clear. Seeing this, the old Supreme Kai nodded. Everyone looked at the scene in the sky like watching a movie. Supreme Kai Shin was very discerning this time and asked Jabit to fetch more than a dozen packets of melon seeds, peanuts, and several barrels of drinks from the temple, and distributed them to everyone. Whis took the melon seeds and peanuts and said with a smile, oh, Supreme Kai, I didn't expect you still have some in stock. Supreme Kai Shin said with a smile, when I have nothing to do, I go to Goku's house to buy goods. I see, it seems that I have to buy some more goods in case of emergencies, Whis said. Vados looked at the thing in his hand, confused, and said to Whis, Whis, what is this? Whis smiled and said, Sister, this is a snack. When you are bored, you can eat while passing the time. Oh, it turns out it's food. Please tell me how to eat it and let me taste it. Vados narrowed his eyes. Whis nodded and showed Vados. Vados followed suit and started eating melon seeds and peanuts. Then he narrowed his eyes and said to Whis, What kind of food is this? It's delicious. Where did you get it from? Whis smiled and said, Sister, these are just snacks, called melon seeds and peanuts. The big bucket next to them, something like water, is a drink. They are all bought from Son Goku's house on Earth. Oh, after Master Champa and Son Goku finish competing, let's go to Son Goku's house on Earth, Vados said. Whis nodded. During the conversation, Son Goku and Champa had already reached out. I saw Son Goku transforming into Super Saiyan 1 and starting to warm up with Champa. Champa put his hands behind his back and calmly avoided Son Goku's attack. At the same time, he was mumbling, It's too slow, it's too slow. How did you become a Gods of Destruction candidate with your strength? Son Goku attacked for a while, then stepped back and said to Champa, Master Champa, the warm-up game is over. Next, I will show off my strength a little bit. Champa nodded and said, Please start your performance. Son Goku shouted and transformed directly into Super Saiyan 4. Seeing this, Champa smiled and said, It's a bit interesting. Before he finished speaking, Son Goku transformed into Super Saiyan and broke through 4 boundaries. Seeing this, Champa smiled even more and said, Not bad, let me see how strong you are in this state. Son Goku smiled and said, As you wish. Before he finished speaking, he stepped in front of Champa and punched Champa in the face. Champa reached out and grabbed Son Goku's iron fist. He said, Yes, the speed is much faster than before. Son Goku smiled, then raised his knee and touched Champa's knee. Upon seeing this, Son Goku dodged, retreated more than 10 meters, and then launched another attack on Champa. The ability to break through the Super 4 boundaries made Champa dare not be careless, braced himself, and responded with all his strength. The two were in midair, chasing each other, and started a fierce fist fight. The collision of the two fists caused ripples in space, shattering the planets in the sky and spreading to the universe. Upon seeing this, Supreme Kai Shin said, The competition between Goku and Master Champa is similar to the last competition with Wu Junming, and it has once again aroused shock in the universe. Old Supreme Kai said, Be calm and don't be impatient. Master Champa and Goku will take care of it. Son Goku, of course, knew the harm caused by space oscillations. After several attempts, he mastered the angle. When he collided with Champa, the space oscillations had been eliminated. While fighting, Champa praised, Yes, your fighting talent is top-notch among all the people I have seen. Son Goku smiled, while his hand movements were not slow at all. The two of them went back and forth, and the fight was evenly matched. Often Son Goku would hit Champa in the head with a punch, and then Champa would kick him in the stomach. One person would cover his head, the other would cover his stomach. After a while, he would rush towards the opponent again. After a while, both of them suffered some skin injuries. After fighting for a while, Champa suddenly smiled and said, That's right, Son Goku, you can actually beat me to a tie with 50% of my strength. It's really good. Son Goku smiled and said, Master Champa, you might as well explain it more clearly. Is it 5% strength or 50% strength? Is it normal strength or strength in other states? Champa smiled and said, Of course it's normal. 50% strength, what do you think it is? After all, how much strength did you use? Son Goku smiled and said, I see, but Master Champa, are you sure you want to know how much strength I used? Champa shouted, Say it quickly. Son Goku held out a finger. Champa laughed and said, Ha ha ha, you don't want to say that you only used 10% of your strength. This joke is not funny at all. Son Goku smiled and said, Master Champa, what are you thinking? I used less than 1/10,000th of my strength. What, I'll kill you. After saying that, he dodged and punched Son Goku in the face. The imagined scene of Son Goku being beaten away did not appear. Champa looked up and saw Son Goku. His body shape was the same as before, but his hair turned silver white, the down on his body also turned white, his pupils turned silver white, and his eye sockets turned black. Son Goku unknowingly transformed into Super Saiyan 5. Son Goku grinned and said, Master Champa, I didn't expect that you, a majestic god of destruction, would not practice martial arts and carry out sneak attacks. Hearing this, Champa said awkwardly, I didn't sneak attack you. I was training your reflexes. I didn't expect your reflexes to be pretty good. Son Goku heard this and smiled. Champa saw this and said, Son Goku, blink of an eye, why did you change your skin? This skin is good, it looks cool, I don't know how strong it is. Son Goku said, Master Champa, I advise you to show your true strength. My strength like this is not the same as the strength of Super Saiyan's 4 boundary breakthrough just now. It has been greatly improved. Hearing this, Champa stepped back and looked at Super Saiyan 5, Son Goku carefully. His face gradually became serious, and he said, It seems that you are really powerful. If I don't show some strength, I might be defeated by you. I have to say that Whis has a pretty good vision. He actually asked Beerus to find him. I have a very good candidate like you. Thank you, Lord Champa, for the compliment, Son Goku said with a smile. Champa waved his hand and said, I'll show you what the real gods of destruction are. After saying that, he clenched his fists, put them on his waist, and started to yell. Ah, 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 ah. With a constipation-like roar, purple flames emerged from Champa's body, gradually covering his whole body. At the same time, the yellow eyes and black pupils also turned into white eyes and purple pupils. About a minute later, Champa stopped roaring and said to Son Goku, Son Goku, this form of mine is the destructive form of gods of destruction. I wonder how many moves you can take on from me. You'll know after you try it, Son Goku said with a smile. Hearing this, Champa stretched out a hand, condensed a purple energy bead the size of a fingernail, and then flicked it towards Son Goku. Son Goku knew that this energy bead was destructive energy, so he did not dodge, but concentrated his whole body's energy and allowed the destructive energy to hit him. The thumb-sized energy beads instantly enveloped Son Goku's body and annihilated Son Goku's body. Son Goku screamed in pain. Seeing this, Champa said coldly, Son Goku, I have to admire you, you were really brave, you actually dared to destroy the energy directly. Son Goku heard this and suddenly laughed, ha ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Champa saw this and said, Son Goku, are you crazy? You are still laughing after this. Son Goku smiled and said, Master Champa, how are you? My acting skills are not bad. I even fooled you. Ha ha ha, I was just teasing you. After saying that, he shouted loudly, and the purple destructive energy around him quickly became smaller. After a moment, it condensed into a bead the size of a thumb. Son Goku flicked it towards a planet in the sky above the Supreme Kai world. The planet then it disappeared silently. Seeing this, Son Goku murmured, I have to say, this destructive energy is quite overbearing. Hearing this, Champa was furious and said, Son Goku, how dare you lie to me? Son Goku smiled and said, Master Champa, you believe too much in destructive energy. My body can even withstand a black hole, not to mention the energy protection. With your destructive energy, you want to destroy me. Body, is it possible? Hearing this, Champa said, That's it, Son Goku, it seems that I really underestimated you, but I'm going to be serious next time, are you ready? Son Goku spread his hands and said to Champa, Just come here, Lord Champa. Seeing this, Champa spread his hands to the left and right, lifted them up, and saw countless apple-sized pieces of purple destructive energy appearing behind him. Seeing this, Son Goku spread his hands and slowly lifted them from his waist. He saw countless white energy swords appearing behind him, each one 3 feet long, solid-like substance, glowing with cold light, and looking extremely sharp. Champa said, Not bad, a bit interesting. After saying that, he waved to Son Goku with one hand. Dense destructive energy surged towards Son Goku overwhelmingly. Son Goku smiled slightly, pushed his palms forward, and the energy sword poured out, facing the destructive energy. The two collided, destroying energy and the energy sword, and disappeared in midair silently. After a few minutes, the destructive energy and the energy sword died together and disappeared. Seeing this, Champa clapped his hands and said, "Not bad, not bad, your energy concentration is actually comparable to my destructive energy, it's really amazing." Son Goku smiled and said, "Master Champa, thank you very much." Champa waved his hand and said, "Then let's start the second round of the competition." "Okay, come on," Son Goku said. Champa nodded, then ducked and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already behind Son Goku and kicked Son Goku in the lower back. Son Goku didn't move at all. Champa kicked the remaining image and realized something was wrong. He felt the bad wind behind his head and quickly dodged. But the evil wind behind his head was like a maggot attached to his bones, following him like a shadow, and Champa could never get rid of it. Champa gritted his teeth and concentrated his destructive energy behind him, trying to block Son Goku's attack. But it was of no use. Son Goku's fist hit Champa firmly on the back of the head. The beating made Champa feel dizzy. Son Goku succeeded in one blow and did not pursue again. Champa shook his head and it took him a while to recover. Looking at Son Goku again, his eyes were full of disbelief. He said, "Son Goku, your strength has actually reached this level. Even my gods of destruction form is no match for you. No wonder Whis said that your strength is already comparable to that of Angel. It seems to be true." Son Goku smiled and said, "Master Champa, are you giving up now? I only hit you once." Champa said, "Son Goku, my gods of destruction form is indeed no match for you. Through the blow just now, I can feel that you held back, otherwise, I would not just be dizzy just now." Son Goku smiled and said, "Then, Master Champa, shall we still compete?" Hearing this, Champa pondered for a moment and said, Of course I have another skill. Although I have only learned a little bit, it is enough to deal with you now." "Oh, then I'll wait and see," Son Goku said. Champa nodded, first released the gods of destruction form, then shouted loudly, silver flames spurted out from his body, and his pupils turned silver in the blink of an eye. On Whis' side, Vegeta saw this and said, "It seems that Son Goku's strength is really extraordinary. He actually forced Master Champa to use it. It's a good sign. Whis, you really found a treasure." Whis said proudly, "Oh, sister, not only Master Champa can do Ultra Instinct, but Goku can also do it, and he is more skilled than Master Champa." "Whis, what do you mean? Did you teach Ultra Instinct to Son Goku?" Vegeta said in surprise. Whis smiled and said, "Yes, not only that, Goku has cultivated Ultra Instinct to the second level of perfection, reaching the pinnacle." "What? Son Goku actually cultivated Ultra Instinct to the second level of perfection? This is a state that none of the gods of destruction has mastered," Vegeta said in shock. Whis smiled and said, "What's the matter? The second level of Ultra Instinct is not Goku's true strength. Super Saiyan 6 is Goku's true strength. What? Ultra Instinct, the second level of perfection is not his true strength. This talent is too powerful. Whis, where did you pick up the treasure?" Vegeta said in shock. Whis smiled and said nothing. While the two were talking, Champa had already made friends with Son Goku. With the ultimate sign of freedom, Champa easily dodged Son Goku's attack like a butterfly flying through a flower. But whenever Champa attacks, a flaw will be revealed and he will be punched 3 times and kicked by Son Goku. Son Goku also noticed that Champa's Ultra Instinct was in its introductory stage and could only rely on body awareness to defend, but it could not yet rely on body awareness to attack freely. Son Goku guessed that Champa had either just learned Ultra Instinct not long ago, or he was too lazy and had only learned the basics and was too lazy to learn it. So he said, "Master Champa, you Ultra Instinct, why are you so half-baked? You have 1 foot inside the door and 1 foot outside. It's really uncomfortable to watch." Champa heard this and said, "Don't worry about me. By the way, how do you know about Ultra Instinct?" Son Goku smiled and said, "Of course Whis told me. He not only told me, but also taught me. TCH, bragging and not drafting, do you think Ultra Instinct can be learned by any cat or dog?" Champa said disdainfully. "Master Champa, it seems that you won't cry until you see the coffin." "Okay, then I'll let you see my Ultra Instinct," Son Goku said. After saying that, without waiting for Champa to speak, he released the Super Saiyan 5 state, then shouted loudly, the silver flames rose from his body, the energy of God surged, his hair turned silver in the blink of an eye, and his pupils also turned silver. When Champa saw Son Goku's appearance, he felt as if he had seen a ghost. His eyes widened and he shouted, "Impossible, how did you learn Ultra Instinct? You must know that this is the control skill of the gods. I have just stepped into it. The threshold." Son Goku said, "Ultra Instinct, the divine control skill, is not very difficult. It only took me 2.5 years to practice it to the second level of perfection." "What? Tell me again, how many years have you practiced and what level have you reached?" Champa said in shock. Son Goku said, 2.5 years, the second level is perfect, what happened?" Hearing this, Champa was so angry that he almost exploded on the spot, and shouted, "What's wrong? God's control skill, Ultra Instinct, you only practiced it for 2.5 years, and you have cultivated it to the pinnacle. What's wrong? I feel like I have lived on a dog's body for hundreds of millions of years." Son Goku heard this, waved his hand and said, "Master Champa, it won't happen, it won't happen." Champa lifted the sign of freedom and said to Son Goku, "No fight, no fight. As for your sneaking into my 6th universe, I won't care about you anymore." Upon seeing this, Son Goku said, "No, Lord Champa, I just turned on Ultra Instinct, so don't fight anymore." Champa said, "I'm not a fool. I still fight even though I know I can't beat him." Son Goku heard this and said helplessly, "Okay, let's do this." Immediately, Son Goku also released Ultra Instinct, and the two flew back to Whis and others. When Vados saw the two returning, he stared at Son Goku and looked at him carefully. Son Goku saw this and said, "Vados, what are you looking at?" Vados heard this and said, "I'm thinking about how you, as a mortal, can rival the gods or even surpass them." Son Goku smiled and said, "Of course it is unremitting efforts." Vados smiled when he heard this and said, "If hard work is useful, why do you need talent? I think you can achieve the strength you have now, not only through unremitting hard work, but also with great talent." Whis nodded and said, "That's right, just like Mr. Beerus, he is obviously very talented, but he is too lazy to sleep. Otherwise, his current strength can at least reach the level of our angel, and for ordinary mortals, even if no matter how hard you work, you can't reach the realm of God, so Goku, you can achieve your current strength only by hard work and talent." Son Goku was embarrassed by the two people and scratched his head. Champa said to Whis, "Whis, is Son Goku a candidate for Beerus? Does Beerus still not know about this?" Whis nodded when he heard this and said, "Yes, what's wrong, Master Champa?" Champa rolled his eyes and said, "Since Beerus doesn't know about this, then it's okay for me to let Son Goku be my Gods of Destruction candidate." Whis heard this and said with a smile, Oh, Master Champa, you are really a clever guy, but this matter, you are thinking nonsense. Goku is originally from the 7th universe, how could he go to the 6th universe to serve as the Gods of Destruction?" Hearing this, Champa asked, "Isn't there any need to discuss this matter?" Whis shook his head and said, "No need to discuss." Hearing this, Champa turned to look at Son Goku and said, "Son Goku, what do you think of Vados?" Son Goku was stunned by Champa's question and said, "Master Champa, what are you referring to?" Champa said, "Of course it's the appearance, otherwise it's the strength." After hearing this, Son Goku looked at Vados and said to Champa, "Master Champa, I dare not say it, otherwise what will happen if Vados gets angry?" Hearing this, Vados smiled and said, "Son Goku, just say it, I won't be angry." Son Goku heard this and said, "Then I will say it." "Tell me," Vados said. Son Goku smiled and said, "Vados has a noble and elegant temperament, a tall figure, and beautiful appearance. From our mortal perspective, she is a peerless beauty." Upon hearing this, Vados narrowed his eyes and said, "Thank you for the compliment." Hearing this, Champa said cowardly, "That's good, Son Goku, you think, if you come to our 6th universe and serve as the Gods of Destruction, you can get along with Vados day and night. When the time comes, you will get the moon first, and then, you know." Upon hearing this, Vados grabbed Champa's cat ears and said, "Master Champa, I see you are itchy again." Champa argued, "Vados, I am doing this for you, for our 6th universe, you can't blame a good person." Whis heard this and said curiously, "Master Champa, tell me how you do good for your sister." Champa said, Think about it, if Son Goku serves as the 6th universe gods of destruction, with his strength, he will definitely be the strongest gods of destruction. When Vados takes Son Goku and appears in front of the gods, there will be many possibilities. To save face. It's because you have face, Master Champa. Whis heard this and said with a smile. My face is only a little bit, Vados's face is more important, Champa said. Hearing this, Vados put more force on his hands and said with a smile, then I also want to thank you, Master Champa. No, we are all our own people, Champa said with an awkward smile. HMPH, I see you are really itchy, how dare you use me as bait, Vados snorted coldly. Hearing this, Champa hurriedly said, Vados, I don't dare anymore, please spare me. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe my channel.